Look at me. Boom.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, August 21st, 2014. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination Episode 645.
This is No Agenda.
Guaranteed 100% Ebola-free. And coming to you from the South Austin Safe House in FEMA Region 6 here in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I just put a maintenance kit into my printer, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
A maintenance kit.
Yeah.
Is that a printer? Is that like the old school cassette tape that would clean your heads?
You know, I don't know what this thing is for, but it stopped the printer. This is a Phaser, one of those solid ink printers from Tektronix, the 8560. Prints on both sides of the sheet. And it's got a bunch of weird stuff that has to be replaced every so often. And there's this one thing called the maintenance kit that has to be replaced after 30,000 copies.
Really?
I must have made 30,000 printouts or something. And, it's a pain in the butt. You got to get this thing. And then you look at the old maintenance kit and the new maintenance kit, and you know there's a counter because they look exactly the same. So there's some counter chip.
Yeah. It's like
that just says, okay, we're through.
It's like your engine light.
Yeah, so
Bing, time to go on. Engine light.
Now it works again.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Did you print out I know you need your clip list all printed out. I know how you like it.
Yes, the last show, actually, because that's when it went out, I couldn't print out the clip list, so I had to have it on the screen of the computer.
And I thought it was me that was doing a rough job being in New York and all.
Yeah, well, I had to do all this other hard work.
I've made Ms. Mickey and I have been talking, and we feel that would probably be good for the show and for us if every 4 weeks or so we go on the road somewhere in Gitmo Nation.
I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah, you've always liked the idea.
Oh, yeah. No, I like the idea. I was on the road. I went to Canada.
Right. No, I know. But we're not talking about you. It's all about me again.
That makes sense. So where does Mickey want to go now?
You're such a douchebag. Wow. Oh, this was my idea.
Okay.
I brought it up.
Oh, so you took the idea. Okay, good.
Well, I noticed the timing is very interesting. If I leave on Friday, if we were to leave on Friday, then we travel to some destination. You know, at least we have travel stories and local color to add for the Sunday show.
We need local color.
Yeah, which I think is very important. And then on Saturdays, wherever we go, we can have a prearranged meetup, you see. So this would kind of work out. I think that's the thing that I'm
So here's
missing.
what you're telling me. You're going to do the show on Thursday, rocket out of town the next day, not be able to do any research whatsoever, hit some party town on Saturday night.
Hookers and blow. Woo!
Live it up, and then get up the next day and do the show on the road?
Hey, Dvorak. Yeah, well, I think there's...
Now, let me say my thoughts on this.
Okay, you made that sound not so good.
Well, it's because I think this is the short. You should go the long side.
No, I disagree.
So for Sunday, you finish the show. Sunday, you finish the show and immediately get on a plane and go someplace.
No. First of all,
you're not even going to let me finish. You have this thing. You have your mind made up.
I'm listening.
Okay. You go on the road. You're Sunday night. You're gone. It's like you can't do much work after the show anyway. Because you're kind of, it's a tedious show. It's tired. It's hard. It's like performing. So you go off and you go relax. You go to Montreal. So now you're in Montreal, Quebec. And Monday you can start roaming to town.
No, stop. I don't like. No. This is just not good.
You hate Montreal?
No.
You don't like. What do you go? What do you got against the Canadians?
Nothing against the Canadians. I witnessed the perfect travel schedule. Left on Friday for New York. Arrived on Friday in New York, and still, with travel and there's time to do research. There is really time to do things. The clips is a little hard, but there's time to do some research. Saturday we had the reunion, and still, unless you didn't like Sunday's show, I thought that I performed to my full capacity.
Okay,
right, and then I have all these days to research and also learn local things before we have the show on Thursday. Then travel back.
You have one day.
After so Friday, Saturday, Sunday the show. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we do the show on Thursday. Go back home on Friday. I'm talking like a real gone for a week.
You're thinking of staying for 2 shows.
Yes.
Oh, that's different.
That changes everything. Great idea, Adam. Yes, indeed.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, yeah, maybe. Might work. So you're finally sick of Austin? That doesn't make sense. Now you're going to go out and look for another town. Okay. I'd be interested to see what you come up with. There's some property available in parts of South St. Louis, East St. Louis, I know.
Based upon your recommendation, John, my daughter and I went to see Wicked on Broadway.
Yes.
A couple observations.
Mickey didn't go?
No, she wasn't with us. She was here. She was working.
Oh, I thought Mickey was there. Okay.
No, it's just the two of us.
All right, so you and Sue and you and Christina.
Sue. Yeah, Sue Ellen.
Sue.
Yeah. First of all, outstanding show. I really liked it. I liked the story. It was very funny, some very funny bits. And of course, I had seen the South Park episode regarding Wicked. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Oh, it's why do women like musicals so much? Then apparently,
I did see this.
The word blowjob is fit in
right.
And then women, after you take them to the musical, they want to give you a blowjob, and then he starts writing musicals, and then there's Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber saying, "Hey man, get off our turf." It was funny,
right?
So the other observation,
which is ironic since they went and did the Book of Mormon, the same guys,
right? The other observation is that you are a perfect fit, and I believe you have everything it takes. You have all the talent, but you really are a shoo-in for the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, the guy behind the curtain?
You would be perfect.
Probably true.
Yeah, the song you can kind of talk, staccato, sing your one song you got. About how fabulous you are.
The one song.
Yeah, the one song. The guy and
want to overdo it.
Christina and I were looking at each other and said, "That's Dvorak. It's Dvorak on stage. It's perfect. You can do this. You can do this. Not a problem." Then, of course, traveling back from New York City with my new trusted traveler credentials.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
How'd that work?
This is so fantastic. JetBlue, so they have their own terminal. I think it's the old TWA terminal?
Yeah, they moved into the old, they can't tear that thing down because it's a national historical
It's beautiful.
monument.
It's beautiful. I love it.
I think it's the best terminal in the world.
And they have re-hippified parts of it. So the pre-check trusted traveler line it's all the way on the other side. It's 0 people.
Nice.
And this time I was told to even keep my belt on. Now, the belt I was wearing...
No, they were yelling at us that in Seattle.
I didn't know about the...
Keep your belt on!
Yeah, but my belt is filled with studs. And don't get the wrong impression. I'm not walking around like Whitesnake. But it's a studded belt. It has metal in it. And I'll keep it on. And it didn't go off, of course. Nothing went off. Keep your boots on. It must be. My boots are always, even in Amsterdam, where you don't have to take your shoes off, my boots always make the magnetometer go off.
If you want to test the magnetometer next time you go through it, well, you're not going to be there in New York for a while, but or anybody out there, you want to test the magnetometer, either bump into the sides or touch the sides.
Yeah, right.
And it'll set it off.
But if
it doesn't set it off, then it's not on.
So and the laid back nature of the TSA officer. This is pre 9/11 experience. There's instead of bin, there's no bins, just a little round plastic thing. You throw your keys and your phone and your money clip. You throw your money clip in there, and you keep everything on. Even if you have a light jacket, keep this. There's no bins. There are no bins. Keep everything in your bag. Now we know that my bag is at best suspicious looking. The studio bag, which contains multiple
wires,
gadgets,
like sticks of dynamite,
yeah, and a microphone, 2 turntables and a microphone. It has. I had my ID31A, the HT, the handheld, which looks very much like a remote detonation device. And this time, my bag went off to the side for bag check.
It's about time.
And the guy picks it up. He says, whose bag is this? Right? No, I'm like, whose bag is this? I'm like, oh, it's mine. I'll come over. He said, oh, microphone. And then as I'm opening up my bag to show the microphone, he says, you don't have to open it up. I see it's a microphone. I could see it as a microphone. Don't worry about it. Have a nice day. He didn't even want to see it.
By the way, I find this peculiar. I have seen a bunch of situations where they could easily open something up and they choose not to.
He even said, I know that it's a microphone. I see it. You don't have to open it up and prove it to me. What?
But I've seen this before, even without going through the special line, the special people.
It is so fantastic to see that everything is a complete, guaranteed, certified, bona fide security theater just by witnessing the Trusted Traveler program, which, of course, costs $140 to enter. And I got an email from Craig, one of our producers, who says, yeah, you think this Trusted Traveler is a scam for you? Here's my story. I applied for the program, filled out all the paperwork, paid my fee, waited for my interview, instead got a notice I was disqualified from the Trusted Traveler program because I'd indicated I had been convicted of a crime. So if a crime automatically disqualifies you, why did they not say that up front so I didn't have to lose my money?
Scammo. Yeah, good one.
And then he says, so I'm not a Trusted Traveler because I travel so much, United pays for my TSA pre-check and I am approved for that regardless. So here's a guy who has declined the Trusted Traveler program because he admits to having been convicted of a crime, yet he still gets to use pre-check because he's a frequent flyer.
Yeah, I get the same thing from PSA. Yeah. Or PSA, what am I thinking? Southwest, PSA.
What was it?
Wow.
Piedmont Airlines.
No, PSA is the progenitor for Southwest.
Yeah, but I remember Piedmont.
Yeah, I remember Piedmont, too.
My goodness. Anyway, hold on a second.
I remember Hughes.
The helicopter guys?
Hughes. No,
it's a little too...
And Eastern. That's a good one.
Eastern. Oh, yeah.
Considered by many to be the worst air carrier ever.
They had the big smiley sun on the side. Yeah, we travel a lot with that Eastern.
Attention, citizens. You are being attacked by your politicians, spokeholes, and news organizations in a violation of your human rights.
I turn on the television. You are being barraged, people. What is happening on the so-called news is making people ill. This is really, it's out of control now. Who made up this idea that it would be fun to do this while everybody had a vacation planned? I'm seeing nothing but Jake Tapper looking really mad. Aaron Burnett, mad. Brolf is at this point. Wolf Blitzer has said, "Screw it, I'm on vacation. I'm not coming. Just don't. If something really bad happens in Israel where I'm hanging out on the beach, I'll do a hit if you want me to." It's really, really crazy.
Yeah, it's only these two stories.
Yeah, well, luckily there's a couple more, but yeah, these two stories are quite interesting, and they're so good. In fact, we have a jingle for our first story.
Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot. The dancing
machine. I love our producers. Thank you, Sean.
Hands up,
Sean
don't
Akers.
shoot.
And I like that one. I thought it kind of worked for me.
It's okay.
Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot.
I just can't understand the first word.
Ferguson.
Ferguson,
hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah, Ferguson.
For some reason I didn't hear it.
These kinds of jingles should have a little padded bit in the beginning, so that it's very important to people. Your brain focuses to it before the first word comes. That is the kind of stuff we have to look out for. True. Yeah. Well, but congratulations, John. Your analysis has played out in spades of this bullcrap media hype. Not to say that it sucks that people are being killed. This seems to happen on a daily basis.
It happens in Oakland all the time. I don't see anybody getting worked up.
People die in car crashes.
What was it in Los Angeles? Some producer of one of the lesser shows, Tosh and .0. I think that one of the.
Well, this was a while ago.
I thought it was gunned down recently.
No, this was a while.
I didn't get any attention anyway.
It was a while ago. But then you have Yeah, and a lot of this is MSNBC. Of course, we have the Rev is out there, and just to reiterate your analysis, which has turned many people into anger and calling us racists. You're a racist, man. You don't see what's going on. Yeah, we kind of do. We really, really, really kind of do. But let's, if you would indulge for a moment, John, let me just fiddle around the dial here so we can listen to a few different pieces of analysis, mainly from MSNBC and how it is being, how the story is unfolding and how it is moving towards the whatever you do, vote. Whatever you do, get out and vote Democrat. And that is as, what is the word? Not sarcastic. What is the word I'm looking for?
Blatant?
No.
Cynically?
Cynical. It's that cynical. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. This is Michelle Bernard. I believe she is the senator or congresswoman for Missouri. And
I believe she'd be a congresswoman.
I think she's a congresswoman. And she spells it out real clear for us.
There are people in this country who not only do not like African Americans, but they despise black men. There is a war on black boys in this country.
A war on black boys. Write it down, John.
In my opinion, there is a war on African American men. And I think the fact that President Obama has repeatedly had to stand up and look at members of Congress and say, I am the president of the United States, get over it. I think it enrages people. And we are seeing not just the economic effects, we're seeing the effects of a horrible public education system that discriminates against our kids on the basis of race and on the basis of their zip code, and things are getting much, much worse. It is an absolutely deplorable situation that the United States, which is supposed to be the greatest nation on earth, sits back and allows black boys to be murdered.
That's pretty outrageous.
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, it's a little naive.
You think? Well,
it's naive within the black community itself. I mean, this isn't going to get anybody.
Yes,
they will pick up a couple of seats. It's not going to be like the Missouri government's going to be overthrown. It's and I think they already have a Democrat governor, and they're giving him grief. Let's check that out.
Well, while you're checking that out, here is a woman who showed up with her daughter, and they were right there getting the voter registration drive underway.
Hi, we originally came out, my daughter and I, first with the cleanup of Ferguson, and then we got involved with the voting because we realized that change starts at the polling place. So if you are a registered voter, you can put elected officials that you feel have the heart of the people in place. And that's why we came out today and working with the voting registration today.
Very good. Now, this got so bad that on Meet the Press, and I think it was it Andrea Mitchell who was hosting it?
I don't know. It could have been. I didn't watch it.
Chip is out, so
yeah, Chip is done. You got $4 million to walk.
Yeah, I thought it was more. 4? Okay, good enough.
Yeah, it's 4.
This is. Let me see. What do I have here? I have here a gentleman by the name of Jason Riley. And Jason Riley is on the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. Obviously, Uncle Tom! as I've seen the Black Twitter exclaim. And he is asked the last question just before they're going to commercial break. And he says the truth. And everyone gets so befuddled. This is one of those rare cases where it'd be fun to see the video. You have Jane Harman, the former congresswoman. She's rolling her eyes. And Andrea Mitchell just tries to dump out of it. You can almost hear the producer going, get him off, go to commercial, go to commercial, go to commercial. And then she also says something very interesting about the Rev's mission to Missouri. Here's Jason Riley, a black man on the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. Also, he wrote a book, which I think is referenced in this clip.
Before we go, I want to ask you about Ferguson, because you've written a whole book, Please Stop Helping Us, How Liberals Make It Harder for Blacks to Succeed. What we've seen in Ferguson certainly shows the disengagement between a local police force and the community.
You could say that. I mean, I don't want to litigate this in the press. If the officer used excessive force, I think he should be prosecuted. But at the same time, let's not pretend that our morgues and cemeteries are full of young black men because cops are shooting them. The reality is that it's because other black people are shooting them. And we need to talk about black criminality. Blacks are only 30.
You just hear the control room going, what? Hold on, get him out. Come on. This is not what we're
situation. But there are 50% of homicide victims in this country, and 90% of those victims are killed by other black people. And we need to talk about that.
We certainly saw that the blacks were the victims of the looting as well.
At the same time,
Andrea, you're losing it. You got to get this guy off.
The same weekend that this went down in Ferguson, we had 26 shootings in Chicago. But Al Sharpton didn't head to Chicago. He headed to St. Louis because he has an entirely different agenda, which is to continue to blame whites.
Well, that is actually not his agenda, because he's actually there in a peace mission today. But before I go...
He was there on a peace mission. A peace mission, I say.
Sharpton is the one that's promoting the get out the vote more than any of them.
Yeah. Well, if you really want to know...
the problem is blacks aren't stupid.
Yeah, well, and this is what slays me, is that the people who are propagating this, I might point out a lot of them white, are really the most racist MFs in the world by acting like they're so dumb.
Yeah, no, it's pretty obvious. It's insulting.
But anyway, we're the racists. Rachel Maddow, of course.
I don't know who would call us, you and I, the racist.
Borderline racist, you're analysis. Emphasis.
There's one guy wrote a nasty
emphasis is mine.
I just got a nasty note from somebody who went on about using the Ben Shapiro clip. And somebody looked at this guy. The guy has been a subscriber to the newsletter since 2011. He's never given the show a nickel. I mean, it doesn't really take that much. $2, and you've at least contributed to the show. But to think that you can be listening to the show for 5 years minimum, and never contribute a nickel, you just are essentially just taking what you can get for free, and then to have the gall to make programming suggestions is beyond me.
Format and programming recommendations. Rachel Maddow, MSNBC again, who are just they're loving it. See, CNN has the Caliphate, and MSNBC really took Ferguson, but they're mixing it up, and Maddow got really confused.
The initial crisis in Ferguson was the police shooting this past weekend of that unarmed 18-year-old Mike Brown. That crisis was created by that police shooting. Police behavior then also created the following crisis, which was the war zone-style, incompetent, extreme use of force police rioting.
What?
Right? That's secondary crisis.
I'm sorry, the police were rioting?
Well, it looks like it to me. I would say yes.
Okay. All right. Now, if you want the person who's going to give you the tell, remember, this is a woman that I met when Mickey and I were in D.C. We went there for the movie screening that turned out to be an Obamacare plug, and she showed up. The only representative in Congress who was not allowed to vote, from the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Oh, God.
And we've played many clips of her. She is a out-and-out shill, a horrible person who calls up people and says, somewhere we have that clip. She said, yeah, I don't see you on my donor list anywhere. So, yeah, this is obviously a problem. Maybe, maybe you want to call me back.
Which is totally illegal when you're in Congress. And although she's not really in Congress, she's
she's there. She's not allowed to vote.
She's a non-voting member of Congress, which is screwy. And of course, she gets constantly reelected. And she's just a troublemaker.
Big troublemaker, but does raise a lot of money for her non-vote. And I believe she has influence. She's a member of the Black Caucus. And she is the tell. Whenever you want to know what the agenda is, she's blatant. Just like she'll call someone up and say, you're not on my donor list. I don't know if we should be talking. She will tell you exactly what the messaging is. And it seemed like this guy who was, and of course, MSNBC, like they were reading off a script as he is handing the questions to her.
The problem, Congresswoman, is that when you don't really represent a community and you are an elected official, you may even actually fear what you don't know and fear going out there. And it has so much to do with the lack of representation of communities and, frankly, the lack of democratic processes that are not being carried out in places like Ferguson. They just don't represent the people they speak to and that they're elected to represent.
Yeah, it's very interesting to note. Here you have this mostly white police force and a mostly black community. But I'm really perplexed about why most of the elected officials are white as well. Is there something about the way elections are done in Missouri or in the county?
Yeah, I bet it's fraud. I bet they're rigging the machines.
That's troublesome. Usually when you get a minority community or a community that becomes mostly minority, you get some diversity of representation. Yeah. So you may have an elected leadership as well as a police force that does not feel that they are truly representative of the community, and that's poison.
That's why we go and kill black boys.
And you know what?
Here it comes. Listen to this guy.
So participation in the electoral process to make sure that you're registered to vote and that you do vote and not later complain when your lack of voting brings up issues like this. I mean, the fact is that we all have...
Hello, black people!
Hey, black community!
Hey, black community!
You see what happens when you don't have your own elected officials out there, people who have had experiences similar to your own. I don't understand that. Again, there may be something about the way the elections are conducted.
What is she driving at? The way the elections... Is this a setup?
Making an accusation, make it.
Is there something coming? Is there some revelation of fraud or voter fraud or redistricting fraud or something bad? Because she said it twice now.
In that county, but if I were in that community, the first thing I'd be doing is organizing voters to go to the polls in November.
Yeah, that's what the Rev is doing.
Yeah, that's what everyone's
doing. That's what this is for. So people,
somebody saw this. They looked at some demographics and they looked at some census studies, and they saw that something that was they're underrepresented. They could take some seats, and I mean, it's just like it was like, I guess, a ka-ching came up from somebody's some strategist.
Hey,
I think this is going to happen in a number of places before they don't have much time for 2014, but by 2016, this is like a test run, I believe, and you're going to see it elsewhere where they're going to need to get the vote out because they don't want to take a chance, especially if they're, they don't know who they're going to run. They're going to have to run a white woman for president, and they got to get the. I don't know. This is going to be a tough one because they're going to have it's going to be Elizabeth Warren. The more I look at it,
what I find fascinating is people emailing and saying, "No, ma'am," and even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote an op-ed in Time, and I like what he writes. The first thing he says, "This is not about race; it's about poverty." Well, yeah, that's partially true, but you really are obfuscating the obvious. That the politicians really do not care about you. Not about you, not about me, not about John. They only care if you vote for them to either put them in power or maintain their power, because that's what the system is. And it's not any different. This is how human nature works. Except we have just fabulous ways to manipulate the message with social media and the news cycle, and it's all tied in, and everybody's married to each other, and all this, it's completely incestuous. And so I get messaging like, well, this is just a setup for the federalization of the police. Yeah, okay, fine. No, we don't need
to federalize.
No, people are completely
They're already like a bunch of soldiers.
People are completely docile. They will do whatever they're told.
And it'll be bullcrap by the people.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Yeah, that's right, rule followers.
I'm a rule follower.
Yeah, I am a rule follower.
So Amy Goodman, of course, went to Ferguson.
They must. I bet you that these news people they have. I'm sure they're staying at the same hotel. They all got to be having sex, hanging out, blowing.
Amy Goodman?
Yes. Oh, come on. Silent waters run deep, John.
No, I've got no comment on that. Okay. Whatever the case, they had a couple of interesting people on the show, including the guy that talked about the militaristic police, and then this Bearcat anecdote. I think that these were good clips. They were a little longer than I want, but I think it's a point we've made on the show a million times. But let's make the point now on, because they've made the point about the Ferguson police being armed to the gills from Department of Homeland Security gear.
Yeah,
and
surplus.
So we have surplus, right? Surplus. Can I ask? Here's an interesting question. They have these a lot of this gear, like the Bearcat. We're going to discuss in a second.
Now, Bearcat. I don't know to me, a Bearcat is a scanner, but I guess that's just me.
Bearcat is a big. It's an armored carrier, a personnel carrier.
Oh, okay, good.
Now, do you remember when the discussion? There's all this gear. There's these huge personnel carriers. There's one thing, I don't have the clip of it, but there's some sort of anti-mine the thing that some of the cities don't want because it tears up the streets and it drives, and they've given them to a bunch of municipalities. Don't you remember when the Iraq War began, these soldiers all bitching about they didn't have any armor at all? They didn't have, the people from the United States had to send them Kevlar vests and all the rest.
Yeah.
How did we go from that to surplus of such an extreme? There's something wrong with this picture, is all I'm trying to say. Whatever the case, let's just play a couple of these clips. Militaristic Police, Part 1.
Major scale from everything that I could tell, but yet they were loaded for war.
Right, and I think that, there are the obvious problems when we see the weapons, but the uniforms matter. When police officers are wearing camouflage, it sends a very clear message.
Yeah, it's like you can't see them in sand.
To the community that they're supposed to be serving. It also affects the mindset of the police officer himself. The idea that when we take domestic police officers and we train them like soldiers and we give them military gear and we dress them up like soldiers and we tell them they're fighting a war. War on crime or war on terror, they're going to start to see themselves as soldiers. And that's just a mindset that's not, that really isn't appropriate for domestic policing. And I think you saw that in the way that they responded to protests, not just in Ferguson, but also, a lot of the crackdowns on the Occupy protesters, on the crackdowns at the political conventions over the years. I mean, this has become our default response to protest in the U.S., and it's something that's, I think, very antagonistic toward the very idea of free speech and the First Amendment.
Yeah, this is Radley Balco, who wrote a book on the militarization of the American police departments. And he has a number of stories. He's on for quite a while. But this one about the Bearcat kind of amused me. And this is he discusses this device or this personnel carrier.
Well, I've written a lot about the Bearcat. This is one of the new pieces of equipment that we have because of these DHS grants. And this is something that's made by a company called Lenco. And a few years ago, I wrote about a town in New Hampshire that sort of rebelled against this. Their town was going to buy a Bearcat with one of these DHS grants. And what I thought was fascinating was I interviewed somebody from the Lenco company and asked him about this. And he said, this is all overblown, that, if a Bearcat shows up on the scene, it's much more likely to be filled with crisis negotiators and psychiatrists than it is with, militarized cops. And I found a video that Lenco sent to police departments across the country to market the Bearcat.
Yeah, I've seen this.
This is what they send them so that they'll want to buy a Bearcat with this DHS money. Okay. And the video shows camouflage-clad police officers, piled into the Bearcat. It shows up. They get out. They start shooting things. At one point, it pokes a hole into a building and injects tear gas. And it was all set to AC/DC's Thunderstruck.
Hell yeah!
These are not images and sounds of a crisis negotiators or de-escalation experts. This was all about militarism. This was all about conflict and aggression.
Why is everyone so surprised? Of course, we've been talking about this very subject for years, but turn on your television. Just look at your movies. Look at the video game. What are you people nuts?
LencoArmor.com if you want to see this thing. This thing looks like an armored truck. It's the funniest looking thing, and then all the photos and everything are just more of the same. But these cops, they look like a bunch of. I don't see the difference between the cops they show in the Lenko webpage and the ISIS guys. They're just a bunch of showboaters. They got their faces covered so you can't recognize them. It's just ridiculous.
Well, we're living in fairy dirt land. This is Disney. This is how we live. This is what we want. And I'm not against cops, but I think there's a lot of misguidance, and it's no worse than the misguidance that if you go out and you're testifying and you're protesting by saying hands up, don't shoot. That's not a protest. That's not a good slogan. Whoever thought that was a good slogan is stupid. This is not how you do it. This is not how you make change.
And how do you? And here's the other thing that happened in New York across the Brooklyn Bridge. There was a sympathy protest by the Palestinians to the Ferguson thing. It was like, we're for Gaza, we're for Ferguson.
Why did I? If you
completely out of control.
I think everyone should pour a bucket of ice water over their head if you're against the militarization of America.
That would be a better use of the ice.
Because that is the twisted thing. At the same time, you have that bull crap going on. It is sickening for people to be on this seesaw, this roller coaster, this left-right whip. It's very, very poor for your health.
And what's going to make it worse for your health are new shows coming onto the fall schedule, like Stalker, which I have a little clip of.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is nice.
Over 6 million people are stalked each year in the United States. It's driven by rejection.
I need to leave. I really want to work this harder.
Jealousy. Revenge. Social media is the #1 reason stalking cases have tripled in the last decade.
Maggie Q.
Anyone can be a stalker. Anyone can be a victim.
If you listen to this clip objectively, you will hear the woman screaming in the background is a loop. It's to say, it's a loop. Listen, it's a loop. It's funny.
It's a loop.
Anyone
listen
can be a stalker. Anyone can be a victim.
Here's exactly the same loop.
I put it in there twice.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I'm glad it was so slick.
Wait a minute. You sweetened your clip?
I sweetened my clip.
Liar.
But that was in there, the screaming woman and the explosion. And it was like a Wilhelm's type scream. I mean, it's like an evergreen scream. That's why I said, "Wow, this is."
Okay, so you can't fool me. I catch those things.
But
that's some shitty ass television promo producer, and it was you. Okay, busted. Now here's something that is very bothersome, and we'll get to this in a moment with the caliphate as well. For 2-3 weeks, we saw Palestinian mothers, fathers, boys, girls, men, women, children being blown to bits. Everything shown, rarely even a warning. Some of these images may shock you. But yet, now all of a sudden, we're not seeing anything. We can't see a bloody boy on the street. It's too shocking. We have to put a big faded bubble over it. Does anyone realize? I think that what really the problem is when the reality versus the Hollywood version. Well, it's like gunshots. If you are shooting a gun, if you are around gunfire, people often say it was like firecrackers, or it's not the it's not the sound that we're used to on television. Big cannons going off, big AK-47s. So it's disappointing. And whenever it doesn't match, good or bad, decisions are made to stop, except when it comes to something that clearly is meant to send a message to you. So there was another shooting. And by the way, they're bringing in big guns for this Ferguson stuff. Chris Cuomo, who is son of Governor Cuomo, who I think came from ABC News. This guy is all in. I would say Anderson Cooper should be afraid of this guy. and he's on CNN. He does the morning show. I think Anderson should watch it and mind his P's and Q's. And he's on the street with Don Lemon, of course. We have Don with his shirt open, his collar open. Yeah, because Don's, in the war zone. And they're
swarthy soldiers that lurk.
And they're evaluating this tape of this other kid. A couple of interesting data points in this, who apparently approaches the police with a knife and winds up getting shot. If they're showing you the video, well, listen.
My producer said they're about to shoot him here, and they wanted us just to pause and take a look at it.
Right, now, why do we stop it there? I think it's important to bring the chief in. We stop because after that point in the tape, nothing happens except his being shot. Right. There is no movement with his arm. There is no raise of the arm. There is no increase in acceleration.
So now they're discussing the most important part of this video, why a police officer shot him, but they're not showing that to you. And they're just saying, no, we're going to tell you what happens, but we're not going to show you. There's no added value to showing you this kid getting shot, it can only mean you're trying to massage the message, set up the stage. We have the visual. You almost believe you've seen it now, because you're going to hear in this clip, you will hear the shots, but the video freezes. You don't see anyone firing or this kid going down or anything.
Alfred Hitchcock doing this?
We just have seen enough bad things. We don't want people to watch the actual shots. But
why not? Hello, Grand Theft Auto 5? You think we can't handle it? We can shoot a couple hookers for a benefit.
Are you saying, what are you trying to tell us here? Are you implying that they didn't shoot the guy in this whole thing?
No, I am saying that, of course, the question is, why did he shoot? What was he doing? Was there aggression? Why? Simple question. Why can we not see this? Why? We see everything else. We see Palestinian children being blown up. We see movies where horrific things happen. We pay good money to go see horror movies. Why will you not show us this? Why not? What possibly?
I have my thoughts.
All right. Well, let's listen to the clip.
You've watched the video.
I have.
And what is your assessment? Because, at first there was a story that he had his hand up. You then said, well, he lunged at officers. I don't see that in the video, but the question is...
He was wielding a knife over...
They're having a discussion about something they won't show us, and they're disagreeing on what happened. This is crazy.
Yeah, he has his hand in his pocket, right. And he then takes his hand out and keeps it low,
right.
And we believe from the police that there is a knife in there.
Right.
He then walks, doesn't listen to the officers, gets on top of the curb, moves towards the officers, and then gets shot.
We have it now. Let's take a listen.
All right, good. Watch for yourself.
Drop it, bro!
And Chief, you hear the gunshots. He had his hands down at that point, did he? So what happened?
He did. The suspect came towards the officers and said, shoot me now, shoot.
So again, they're not telling you what you didn't see because they paused the tape. What is this?
Me now, kill me now. The entire encounter lasted about 15 seconds. He approaches the first officer, heads towards the driver's side, backs up a little bit, then goes towards the passenger side. He starts to move towards the police officer that was in the passenger seat who's out of the car. He has his gun out. He's giving verbal directions, stop, drop the knife, stop the knife. But he continues to move towards the officer. The officer even takes a step and a half backwards to try and put some distance between them. An edged weapon, a knife, within 21 feet is a lethal weapon.
Now, this is the chief of police telling us what happened that we weren't allowed to see. Tell me, John, why is this?
Wow, this is
there's a little more if you want to just hear it all out.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be the same thing.
Well, there's one extra data point that I think is interesting.
Well, put it through, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Coming through. Stand back. Here it comes.
People in the community, including the guy who takes the video, says, we know this guy. The store owner knows this guy. He's known to have some problems, emotional, mental, whatever they are. He has them. Why isn't that something that the police weren't told in the 911 call? Right. And does it speak to community policing, knowing who you're around? Not obviously knowing everything about everybody, but that's the second question.
We've been talking a lot about community policing and also the use of force. Is it appropriate? Why use bullets? Why not use a stun gun?
Now, why not use a stun gun, John? If the guy has a knife, and we just heard within 21 feet that is an attack with a lethal weapon, an edge weapon.
Yeah, why didn't they taser him?
Why? Well, do you have an idea? The chief of police will tell us. I just wonder if you want to...
I want to hear what he says.
Well, certainly a taser is an option that's available to the officers, but tasers aren't 100%. So you've got an individual armed with a knife who's moving towards you, not listening to any verbal commands, continues, says, shoot me now, kill me now. Tasers aren't 100%. If that taser misses, that subject continues on and hurts an officer.
You think the use of force was appropriate in this case?
Really? I didn't know tasers were not 100%. Seems to work pretty effectively from what I've seen.
Why use them at all if you're going to use that as an excuse, by the way? But we should tase anybody.
Yeah. You kill, lots of people die from tasers.
This is just indicates to me that we're dealing with a controlled, scripted situation.
Thank you. Yes.
And everything. What it is that if they actually showed the ridiculous pumping of lead into this character, it would have actually incited some serious problems. It might burn down St. Louis.
Gotcha.
So you pull back on this because this whole thing has got a director and say, no, we can't go that far. Yeah, the guy's dead. Tough crap. He's dead.
Right.
But we can't, we're here for a reason. The reason is to get out the black vote, and we have this thing under control.
We're on a peace mission. What are you talking about?
If the blacks, or if anybody saw this, just a gun down of this poor bastard who's apparently an idiot, just gunned down with, like, it sounds like he unloaded his weapon into the guy. This could trigger, that would be the straw that would break the camel's back, and it could trigger massive, real riot. Not these bull crap that's going on, but massive, real burn down St. Louis.
So there's an extra edge
burn down Chicago while we're at it.
There's an extra dimension to this. The police released this video, which is also highly irregular for them to... They released this video in its entirety where you do see the kid being shot. But this is one of those instances where no one's showing it. So I don't know. I guess they did a kind of a twofer. But we'll release it, but we're not going to show it. We're going to analyze it, but only with what we say we saw.
Yeah, and this is similar to the tapes, the Sandy Hook tapes.
9/11 calls
were released. Yes. The Sandy Hook is the best recent example, where they released the tapes, and then there's a gentleman's agreement amongst the media, which is, by the way, I want to remind people that you're listening to this show for a reason.
Yeah.
It's because the media is no good.
It's busted, broke.
It's the only way to put it.
Just on Sandy Hook, the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission will be releasing its final report in a couple of weeks. They say it is unlikely it will include an analysis of Adam Lanza. Hamden Mayor Scott Jackson says, our report is not going to be a deconstruction of Adam Lanza. Well, isn't that kind of the whole point? Because why did he do it? Anyway, side note, just because I had that story.
I'm watching Amy Goodman. And she's got some old lady named Hetty Epstein.
Why does that name ring a bell?
She's a 90-year-old woman who just keeps getting arrested for protesting.
Okay.
Oh, these people should stop the violence. And I want you to listen to the introduction to her, which is the Hetty Epstein, WTF, Part 1.
Our guest, Maria Chappelle-Nadal, Missouri State Senator, as we end today's show with Hetty Epstein. She is a 90-year-old Holocaust survivor who was arrested on Monday in St. Louis when she was part of a protest outside of Governor Jay Nixon's office. Hetty Epstein is co-founder of the St. Louis Palestine Solidarity Committee and St. Louis branch of Jewish Voice for Peace. In 2011, she was part of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla.
She's a troublemaker.
Yeah, she's an old lady that's really just a pro-Palestinian, self-loathing Jew.
By the way, I hope I'm a troublemaker like that when I'm 90.
I hope you are, too. Hetty Epstein. Now, play Part 2, and there's a discrepancy here I want to discuss.
He's doing the same kind of violence that I've observed when I was in the Israeli-occupied Palestine. It's just abominable what's happening.
Abominable?
Where were you born?
I was born in Germany, and I left in May 1939 on a Kindertransport or children's transport to England. I came to this country in May 1948.
So what fuels you, keeps you going? By the way, happy birthday. You just celebrated your 90th birthday.
Do you know it's a discrepant piece of information? Or either that or I'm completely oblivious to terminology nowadays.
Whatever she said?
She said they introduced her as a Holocaust survivor, and that's the way she presents herself.
Right.
She left Germany in 1939 on a kid transport to England. Where she went to the United States. So are you telling me that if you were ever a German, I guess, or a German Jew, you're a Holocaust survivor, even though you never went to a concentration camp?
Well, let me ask you a question. Did she die at the hands of the Nazis?
No.
Holocaust survivor.
Well, apparently that's what it means nowadays. She wasn't in the Holocaust. She wasn't taken into an internment camp as a child or anything else. No. But she calls herself a Holocaust survivor. So apparently now the left, and I would accuse them of...
Can I just ask a question? Does she present herself that way, or is that what
Amy Goodman did?
Okay, Amy Goodman did.
And I believe if you do some research, you'll find out that that's the way everybody presents her.
Okay, well, that's different than her presenting.
So you get cred, you get street cred for being a Holocaust survivor.
For being
even
alive.
Though you were never part of that at all. That's what we're dealing with.
You mean in the media?
Yes, in the media.
Yeah.
I would just say that's a lie.
And that is your public media, the so-trusted. Now, mistakes get made. We make them all the time. But it's just color. It's just setup. It's just manipulation. It's manipulation. Every single bit of it is manipulation. There are scripts running so far and wide right now. People are being called back from the Hamptons. Oh, man. We got... crisis firms, PR firms, people are on cell phones and taking choppers back into Manhattan. We got stuff to do, people. We got campaigns to run. We got signs to print. We got agents provocateurs to send out. That, of course, is really the problem now. They were talking about let everyone go into the green zone to protest. Fabulous. All right. I think we're done with... For now.
Chris Ferguson thing. This I wish would have hoped it had ended by now, but they're going to milk it for all it's worth.
Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot.
And so will we. With
like somebody, like the guy said, 26 people were killed in Chicago just as this thing is going on.
Yeah, no one cares. And the president, everyone's in on it. If you see this in any other light, then I'm sorry, there's no hope for you. This is so obvious. And yes, it is that cynical. It is that cynical that people really will do anything. And this is what they wanted with Trayvon. This is what has been going on. It's the whole plan. It's the whole idea. We got the women. We got women by saying Republicans like killing fetuses. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Republicans, want guns, which will kill your children in school. The Republicans hate women because they want to be in their vagina. These are the words that are used. This is not Adam talking.
Yeah.
And so I think we've got the women pretty covered.
It's a war.
Why war on women? Why would a woman in America today vote for any Republican candidate?
It makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense. So we've got that one, and that check mark's done. Now, I also think, really, if you look at, is it 13% of the population? I think is what Jason Riley was saying. If African American is only 13% of the population, it seems low. But okay, it could be.
I thought it was closer to 20, but it could be 13 because the Hispanics has gone way up.
Right, but they don't count. They're not black, you see.
Right, and they're also religious mostly, and it's a real problem. The Democrats don't quite have to deal with.
They don't know how to do the Latino. Well, they're trying the Latino thing with the immigration reform.
Yeah, that's about as far as they can get.
This is how you have to look at it, and that's how you stay in control of the
money.
American corporation, America Inc. Yes, that's how you stay in control of it. Why don't we slow down for just one moment as I thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Adam Curry, and also in the morning to all the ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air. Subs in the water. And all the dames and all the knights out there.
And in the morning to everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Good to see you all there. App developers, we have changed our stream locations. Please make sure you have new streams updated in your apps. You know,
oh, yes.
People make apps and then they forget about them. And also I have to say it's hard because sometimes you're forced certainly the way Apple does things, you're forced into hard coding certain information resources, or maybe it's maybe just poor coding, but shit happens. But then you have to update the app, which is crappy on two ends. One, you have to do the work, submit it to Apple, they have to approve it.
Yeah.
And then you need to presume that everyone's going to update the app, which I'd say is probably low percentages.
Yeah, and this will be the last time that we have to make a change like this.
Yeah, I agree. We have pretty much control over pretty much everything now. I mean, control is not the right word, but we have access to changing information within our reach.
We have control of the vertical, control of the horizontal.
That's a reference. No.
What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
That was from one of those Twilight Zone-like shows. It was
The Twilight Zone.
The Outer Limits.
And in the morning to our artists.
Yeah, let's talk about the art for a second.
First, let me thank Alexander Nori, who delivered the art for us for episode 644. Nice job.
We had a lot of really good art out of the blue. This happens. It's very cyclical. Sometimes we get like 5 pieces, and we get 50 pieces.
It was a whole page just for that one episode. That hasn't happened in a long time.
Now, the piece I like the most, I want to make sure that this gets out.
Well, wait a minute. We decided together?
Yes, no, we decided together because we had to vote. We decided together. But I want to mention the couple of pieces that I thought were just so outstanding that we did have to argue about. Mm-hmm. And one of them I thought was just personally, I was going to use the joke of this is I was going to use it in the newsletter, and I decided not to anyway.
Okay.
And this was 20-watt bulbs, cheap slaves.
Yeah, I like that one too. That was good.
Outstanding piece, very original and great.
And also connected to the show.
I want to mention, because I don't think 20-watt bulb's been doing some really good really original, good ideas. But he apparently never got the memo. He did another piece for the show called League of No Agenda, with No Agenda show Dvorak Curry 644. We do not want to see the episode numbers.
Because we can't use it. Yeah, we can't use it as
because
as
we can't use it the next week if we wanted to.
Right.
So please don't put the episode number in the art.
No.
Or if you do, then just keep resubmitting that exact same piece with another episode number.
All right.
And I don't think you want to do that.
No.
So I ended up using another piece that I liked a lot for the newsletter, which was the John Melonhead Carey art.
Yeah.
That was so
with
funny.
the watermelon on his head.
He's wearing a watermelon cap, like that. If you remember that little kitten that had the watermelon cap, it was popular a few years back.
Oh, you mean the one you had on your Skype icon for a decade?
Yes, I had it on my Skype icon
for a decade.
Wearing a football helmet made out of a small lemon. And anyway, just wanted to say that we get a lot of good art. And there's other pieces on there that are dynamite, but those are the ones I wanted to mention.
And just thanks again to everyone who submits and who participates in this. It makes such a difference when you open up a podcast app or you look at your iTunes podcast, however you're getting it, and there's a new piece of art. It jumps out at you.
Yeah.
People get used to the same art. And now we finally figured out how to make it change in most podcast apps is good. Then it's fun when you're driving in the car. You got it on the mid console there.
It looks professional.
Thank you. And let's face it, unlike some people's opinions of podcasts, we try to be professional, not just amateurs who have a passion.
Right. Amateurs with a passion seems to be a lot.
The No Agenda Show. 2 amateurs with a passion. And no listeners.
But we didn't have a lot of contributors for this show, talking about no listeners, but I want to mention the 2 that did for the executive producerships. Although I'm going to give it to a third. I'll tell you why as we get there. But Sports Junk in Arlington, Texas became an Insta-night.
Nice.
And it's P. Dilly, and we want to read his note. It says, thanks for not calling me out as a douchebag on Sunday's show. I've been listening since the beginning. So I needed a really, really big de-douching. He needs that immediately.
Okay, let's hand it out right now. Let's not wait any longer.
You've been de-douched.
Oh.
For my information, I'm guessing, because he's referring to the DH Unplugged show, which I guess he listens to. He bought Facebook at $17.94.
Based on our advice.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, thanks for that one. Excited to be a knight. Hope to see you again. And he's got it. He wants to be the knight who says "neh."
What?
He sent another note in.
Oh.
So put it on there. The knight who says "neh," which is a reference to Monty Python. I believe.
Knight who says "neh." Oh, I got it. It's in the.
Neh.
Thank you, Eric. It's in
N-I.
It's in the "neh."
Neh.
Well, I have to say, when I see an Instant donation, particularly after the amount of work we do, I am so happy. This makes me very happy. I feel appreciated. I'm sure you feel appreciated too.
Oh, yeah. I love the Instanites.
Any donation is just... I was talking at the family reunion. I was telling, people support the show. Like NPR? No. You have to get into all that. No. They play as. No, it's under. No, they play... screw it. And they just send you money? Yeah, isn't it crazy? Maybe it's an outstanding product. I'm so happy. We're not rich guys, but I'm so happy. I don't have to suck some advertiser. I don't have to have a meeting. I don't have to sound all happy and chipper.
Right.
And then
and it's really good for me because it's really almost impossible for me to sound happy and chipper. I've tried.
I know.
All my happiness comes through the harmonica. Sir Scott.
And thank you. And sorry. And thank you for defending our model recently on whatever show I saw you.
Oh,
no, it was good. I'm happy.
I wanted to go further with my argument, but I decided to pull back the reins, Johnny.
Good work.
Scott Hale in Trellick, Monmouthshire, UK, $200, and he becomes associate executive producer. Hey, John and Adam, your show has been twice weekly. Ta-da! Hey, John and Adam, your show has been the twice weekly audio for my commute here in Gitmo East from day one.
Uh-huh.
I now find myself with an opportunity to rid my company of 130 pounds in legitimate business expenses, or else pay more in tax to those robbing bastards in the UK Inland Revenue.
Well, that's no good.
So here it is. If not too long, could you please play the Gitmo anthem? Can we play it at the end of the show?
Yeah, we'll play it at the end of the show, of course.
Meanwhile, I will continue.
Remind me, please. Remind me. It's going to be hard.
Okay, let me put it down in the book.
Yeah.
Gitmo anthem.
In the book. Yeah, that'll help.
It might.
All right,
it's always a possibility to help. It might not.
We could have played it by now.
If not too long, could you please play the Gitmo anthem? Meanwhile, I will continue spreading the formula by hitting Facebook friends in the mouth by posting the real reasons behind the so-called news events and their status updates. Loving you both. Bye, Curiously, Scott.
'Cause I'm a hetero, flexible man.
Somebody give me an appletini.
Got to keep
and
my
now, wait,
brothers in
hold on.
line. Oh, now we have you're pulling someone in.
And I'll tell you why. You can tell me if I'm wrong on this, but Sir Leonard Baron in Groningen sent in $199, and I believe because the euro had slipped
a little. It was supposed to be 200, and he just slipped under the number there.
Yes, I want to put him in at 199 as a. Because of his intentions,
yes,
to be an associate executive producer.
I completely agree.
We'll have two instead of one.
It's for this very reason that the Chiron operators on the so-called news channels are working overtime, because first we had this $133 million ransom that was offered, that was demanded for this journalist, and they have to turn it back to 132 million because, of course, they asked for 100 million euros.
Apparently.
Yeah, so no one knows what to do anymore. They're all confused.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Leonard.
Yeah, and there's no note. Just Baron Leonard. He's a baron.
I'm flying to Amsterdam on Monday. Everything's coming up quick.
What?
Yeah. It's my daughter's birthday on the 27th, and then my birthday on the 3rd, and I stay a couple more days. I think I fly back on the 9th. Yeah, the 3rd.
So you're going to be broadcasting from
yes, sir.
Europe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. Interesting.
Why?
Well, I was going to go.
You're still welcome.
I may still sneak over there if I can find some way of doing it. I have to sell something.
I will say...
I have to sell some of my art.
I will say...
Maybe an oil painting.
I will say that everyone who I hold dear to my heart is going to be there, which is why it's. I understand if you don't want to come because that's just you, not a problem. But you do belong there, no doubt.
Is Leo going to be there?
Hey, very, very funny. Hey, I got a gig. I almost forgot to tell you.
Well, let me first say that I think people should note that we do have another show coming up on Sunday. It's just a few days off, and to go to Dvorak.org/NA and become an Instanite.
Good idea.
Nobody, except the first time I offered the 666 deal, nobody has jumped in on that, and so we're not gonna get a lot of 666s except on the show, maybe. You got a gig.
I got and guess what I got a gig as?
A DJ.
Nope.
Voiceover.
I do declare I've been asked to do Frank Underwood for a small company presentation.
What?
I've been asked to do a voiceover for an in-house company presentation.
And so you're going to use the Frank Underwood voice?
That's what they want me to do.
Well, let's hear a little bit of it. Did you have to audition for this?
I did. And
you sounded more like Frank Underwood than all the other auditioners? Apparently.
Yeah.
Got the gig. Reads from the script.
Do you want to hear it? I think I have it.
I want to read a couple lines from the script in Frank Underwood's voice.
I have the audition, I think.
Oh, you have it on tape?
Yeah, somewhere I have it.
Play us at the audition. That would be, because then we know how you close the deal. It's good. You finally make a little money.
Which is precisely why the Cordish Companies, one of the largest gaming, entertainment, and real estate developers in the entire country, has partnered with Penn National Gaming. Collectively, they've built more.
I probably shouldn't do that. I don't know if they want their names.
Sounds more like you.
Oh, they said and I said, look, I really don't have, they want to do it yesterday. I said, I really can't do this and I need direction. I said, well, just read this and then we'll direct you later. And they said, do it slower, but they like it. They like it enough to.
Okay. Well, they probably direct you right into it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your congratulations. I'm very happy.
I think it's great. It's about time.
And it's not a national commercial or anything. I don't get residuals, but
besides the point.
Yeah.
Get out, get some more work.
Yeah.
All right. It's also good because you get anecdotal material for the show.
Exactly. And
get out of the house. That's the way I say it.
So what I want next is I want someone to hire me. Hey, Freddy the Firewall. That's what I wanted. We have a whole commercial cartoon series ready for that one. And you've written scripts. All right. Let's handle a little bit of karma for everybody, which I always like to include some job karma, because even if you are royalty and of the round table here on No Agenda, it's always handy to have some. You never can have too much jobs, and jobs.
Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
And as John said, please help us out for Sunday's show. It is the only way we keep the show on the road, because trust me, I'm not going to get a lot of Frank Underwood gigs.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Of course, you can always help us out by doing one very simple thing, going out and propagating our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
What the hell is that? Whoa. I don't know where that came from.
What was all that?
I don't know. I was trying to get...
band came through your place. Get those guys out of there.
What I was trying to play the Marching Pigs, which fits so nicely, and then another marching band showed up. Oh, here it is.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing.
That's right. We know the
marching
score.
Pigs.
We know the score. I want to say hello to our friends in Australia. We have a lot of listeners in Australia. Traditionally, they are big supporters of the program, Australia and New Zealand. But Australia is bigger.
Yeah, New Zealanders are more. Yeah, we don't have as many.
And you'll recall we were following the elections, and they have this guy, and it's pretty funny, this Clive Palmer, kind of the blowhard.
Yeah, there's a lot of blowhards in Australia.
Yeah, I like this guy, if only because he's great material for our show. And I think he also represents, in a way, the Australian... I think the Australians... I was there in 1990. I believe that's before the guns were taken away, and I did a documentary, and I went out in the outback, and I went on the mail truck, and for 3 days you deliver the mail, and I drank. I did a Spinsters and Bachelors Ball. I've talked about that, haven't I? What that is?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we don't have to reiterate. Everyone knows.
No.
I baked the Ute.
Yeah, I heard that.
I baked the Ute. And I think in some ways, I feel Australians have been castrated.
Deballed, if you were.
A little bit. But Clive Palmer brings it back, particularly when it comes to the Chinese. What we're not saying, what we on the show say all the time, of course, he is protecting his turf. Here's a little package about his most recent statements about the Chiners.
An arbitration against these Chinese mongrels. I'm saying that's because they're communists, because they shoot their own people, they haven't got a justice system, and they want to take over this country.
Strong words by Clive Palmer against China raised eyebrows on Monday night's Q&A.
I like how it only raised eyebrows. Here in America, we'd be outraged. We'd have talk shows.
Racist.
He said they were mongrels. He should have said they eat dogs, but he didn't go that far.
The federal MP had been questioned over allegations he funneled cash from his Port Palmer operations to help fund his election.
See, immediately they're going to try and smear the guy.
Campaign. Yeah, Palmer strenuously denied the claims, at one point accusing ABC host Tony Jones of being influenced by Rupert Murdoch.
It's a lie. It's not true, and we'll deal with that matter. You've been reading too much of The Australian and what Rupert Murdoch's telling you from New York. It's just not true.
He then deflected his attention to his former Chinese business partners.
It won't stop the fact that the Chinese government wants to bring workers here to destroy our wage system. It won't stop the fact that they want to take over our ports and get our resources for free. Okay. And I don't mind standing up against the Chinese bastards and stopping them from doing it.
The mining magnate has been accused by Chinese-owned CITIC Pacific of siphoning more than $12 million to fund his personal interests, an accusation he has denied. Palmer said he'll be taking the matter to court next week.
I like this guy. I like what he's just saying it. You have no cultural Marxism, no political correctness.
Yeah, there is plenty of it. There's probably more there than there is here, and he won't get anywhere because of it. That's my way of looking at it.
Well, he already has a vote. I mean, he is in.
Well, we'll see how far he gets.
You said something in the newsletter, which I actually went and found a clip about the Iceland volcano.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we should probably mention the Iceland volcano.
For a number of reasons, because we have, as you know, producers everywhere. That's what we call our listeners. They are producers. They produce the program in more ways than one by sending us information because, I don't know, they're there.
It's called our intelligence network. We have our own.
Our intelligence network.
We have our own. It's an independent intelligence network. It works quite well for us.
Write that down.
Okay.
Vast independent intelligence network. We need some more with experts. You know, we need some more. Well, we'll work on the wording. I like this, but it is an intelligence network. Unlike the New York Times, you know, if they want to find someone in Iceland, they have a book. Don't they have a book? Isn't that how it works? You call the resource department. They say, "Who do we have in Iceland?" Or if they want,
actually, the way the way it's compartmentalized is that they end up having to call a bunch of different people in the company until somebody has an Iceland stringer, or somebody that used to be an Iceland stringer. They've cut off most of these people.
Well, but as a source, you get on lists. I used to be on lists when I was at MTV. If there was a music story.
Yeah, no, I'm on a bunch of lists. I'm on the list for ABC.
Still.
The number of radio stations, one south, one up here, one in somewhere, Minnesota.
I got voted off all islands somehow. I think
you always get voted, unless you're calling them up and you know, reminding them that they should call you once in a while. You'll never get called.
Well, back in the late 80s and 90s, I got called. I think I tweeted a link to the YouTube video where I was on the, what's that douchebag who married Connie Chung, Maury Povich show.
Yeah, Povich.
Joan Rivers. I was always called on to do those shows. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, they don't have shows anymore.
It was totally fake and
of course
bogative.
It's bogative. Anyway, go on with our Iceland stuff.
So do you want the boots on the ground report first and then listen to what CNN has to say? Or
I'll do the other. It's all yours.
I'm setting when this happened last time, I will remind you, and I'll give you this information. There was European airspace shut down. And being an aviator and having plenty of friends in aviation, we're in constant contact, and it was the most beautiful flying weather ever. There was not a speck of volcanic ash, but the computer models had calculated that this was going to bring aircraft tumbling down all across Europe.
Yeah, it's the global warming computer
same computer models. People were stuck on vacations. They couldn't get back. They were sleeping at airports for weeks. They were running out of money. There were no rental cars. It was
terrible.
It was a disaster. Yet the skies were completely ash-free for most of Europe. And it was, I remember, might have even had a jingle for it. It was so crazy. It was a week. So CNN is now talking about this, and they have a name for it, which I'll be on the lookout for. And this report is interesting because it does go back and tell you about all the horrible things that happened, I presume, or assume, to make you feel worried.
European travelers, be warned. Seismic authorities in Iceland have...
That's me. Wait a minute. That's me. I'm traveling to Europe on Monday. I should be warned.
European travelers, be warned. Seismic authorities in Iceland have said that its largest volcano could erupt at any time. On Monday, the area suffered its biggest earthquake since 1996, and molten lava is on the move.
The reason we are reacting in this way is that one round of quakes is bigger and more powerful than we've seen in a long time in this area.
In 2010, air travelers around the world were massively disrupted when another Icelandic volcano spewed an ash cloud with glass-like fragments high into European airspace. There was an unprecedented grounding of flights across northern Europe for 6 days, stranding millions of passengers. Some airlines were furious at the shutdown, saying European authorities overreacted.
It was causing problems for millions of passengers. The airlines themselves were losing a lot of money because they couldn't fly, and the customer relations departments of airlines were really suffering because they were taking huge numbers of complaints and had no solution.
It then took days for airlines to get their planes and their staff in the right places. Travelers going to airports each day only to be told they had no seats. Some had to vacate hotels as reservations ran out or credit cards did. Ports and trains were swamped. Rental cars abandoned after people drove them one way to get closer to home. And airlines from Asia and North America could not fly in and out of Northern Europe either.
So our producer with boots on the ground, this is totally meant to just frighten you or whatever.
I like it.
Oh, I like it too. This is from Kristen. That's Kristen's female in Selfoss, Iceland. Quick note here from Iceland. Selfoss is about 100 miles from Bardabunga. Bingo, boom, shakalaka. The quakes and magma have all been about 5 to 10 kilometers deep and are not moving closer to the surface, so there's nothing happening right away, if at all. This is just Icelandic journalists that like to get their news to the world press.
Okay.
I believe it.
I believe it too.
Why would they do that?
But they do well. They still something has to blow up in Iceland one of these days because
it does. Yeah, it is time for sure.
And this apparently is a whopper. It's not part of the same chain as the other one. Historically, that last one that went off has a sister next to it, and that's the one that's supposed to go off next, not this one, which is over somewhere else.
Right. That's all
but
good.
Whatever. It's okay. I think you'll get over there and make it. You could get stuck over there under some circumstance like you did when Mickey couldn't get back into the country.
And then we could take cool pictures for the newsletter.
You had great pictures for the newsletter. People were sympathetic. I think it helped the show.
Your newsletter is a work of art, man. I have to say. And I have in the show notes under clips and stuff, we'll put a couple of pictures that people made with the selfie template that you
Did
included?
You see the one somebody took the selfie template, and I think the best one, I got it after I sent the newsletter out, or otherwise I would have included it, which was just to take the template as is and draw two huge black
the alien,
eyes.
the alien one. Yeah,
so it's like an alien.
It's perfect. It's outstanding. Yeah, it actually fits. Well, it's second half material. I don't know if we should. I got second half stuff which deals with aliens, but there's a couple of cool ones. Me with Sharpton. There's me with Leo.
Yeah, I saw the Leo one.
Yeah,
those guys have big heads.
Big heads rule on television. It's fact. It always works.
Yes, we have it documented by other experts. So I want to remind people to go to Dvorak.org/NA and give us a hand for the show coming up on Sunday. Again, everyone's welcome. Any amount is useful and helpful, and it keeps the show going. It's a very good show.
I enjoy it. Sometimes I listen to our own show and enjoy it. I got a Words Mattered email from one of our knights who's having a real hard time getting through your spam filter. Sir D.H. Slammer.
Yeah, D.H. Slammer.
Did you fix that up? For some reason, he's blacklisted with your system. I don't know.
I don't know.
He needs help. Anyway, another word, as we've been trying to... I think we haven't used the word weird at all during this broadcast, which is almost an hour and 15 minutes. Very good. Well, thank you. We're very aware and trying to expand our vocabulary and take it past the
cliches.
Well, not just the cliches, but the very poor, limited vocabulary of today's modern culture. And you're very good.
Hearing the truth of the matter more and more.
Oh, how about end of the day? I'm hearing that more and more. This is
end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is coming back.
Oh, I don't like this.
There was a.
I hope I don't pick that one up.
The end of the day? No, you won't do that. The end, but I've heard that many times. At the end of the day, that one's coming up. We have Mickey has an assistant who comes by and helps her once a week with some Photoshop stuff, and she's 24, I think. And she's now into it. She's trying to catch herself. And she says, I remember the first time we used Epic.
Epic.
Epic. This is not good. I said, no, that's not good. You should not be using Epic.
When anyone says the one that we got out of, which I think when we first started this was with Amazing or Fact of the Matter, one of the two.
I think it was Amazing, Awesome.
I didn't use Awesome that much. It was Amazing was a problem.
Oh my God, that is amazing!
When anybody says amazing around me now, I go, amazing!
Yeah, this is one of the most requested ringtones. Sir D.H. Slammer says, I bet you are aware of the definition of the word decimated. You used it in show 643 to describe what looters did to a Target store in Ferguson.
Decimated.
Admittedly, it is a rarely used word, but is one of my pet peeve words, along with irregardless and etc.
Well, irregardless isn't a word.
No, that's why it's one of his pet peeves. People use that, irregardless.
Well, decimate is a word.
Decimate, the popular definition means to eliminate every 10th thing, not bring it down to a 10th in size. That's his point.
Well, let me go.
I think it's debatable.
Well, let's go. Decimate definition.
Kill one in every 10 as a punishment for the whole group.
It would make sense because the DESA, of course, is 10. To just kill, destroy, remove a large percentage. I think it's just morphed. Historically, it means kill one in every 10, a group of soldiers as a punishment for the whole group.
He says
long changed. You know, the penal code comes from the word penis. That doesn't mean, that you write it on a dick.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah.
So how did we go from penis to the penal
Because it was always about men were the ones committing all the crimes. And it became the penal code that had to do with men.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, let's check into it. I don't know the exact details.
This is a nice little... making
it up.
This is nice. I think you are.
No, I'm not making it up.
That's a nice little factoid. I like that. Penal code, indeed. Okay. I guess we should...
And that's what testimony. Testimony used to be had to do with testes. and you give testimony, I mean that you'd hold your nuts, hold your one hand up and one on your nuts.
And when gay used to mean happy and frolicking.
It used to mean happy.
Mm-hmm.
Happy.
And fag
happy,
used to mean
happy,
cigarette.
happy.
Cigarette. And douchebag used to mean...
A douchebag.
Actual douchebag.
That was used to wash yourself.
Yeah, precisely. I'm ready for this if you are.
Caliphate in Iran. I think I'm gonna crack my pants.
It is well known in political circles, media land, who of course operate together. If you want the press to pay attention to a story, kill a journalist. It usually helps.
Yeah, it draws attention to the situation.
It does. Now, this has sparked so much in such a short amount of time, including yet another statement from the president. Of course, I went to look at the video. This is the beheading video of James Foley.
Okay.
You have seen the video, I presume, John?
No, actually, I avoided it. I figured it was a phony video, and I wasn't going to look at it because I'm sure it was well produced.
Oh, wow. This is unfortunate.
Okay, you want me to go look at it now?
I think that would be valuable.
Give me a link.
Maybe a link.
Okay, well, let me just do beheaded. Beheaded. Yeah, because this to me was a non-story, so I wasn't.
Well, you can't say it's a non-story when.
No, it's not to me. I said it to me. I didn't. It wasn't something I was going to discuss. I figured you might. Beheaded video. What's the guy's name?
Foley.
Foley. Foley.
Which is also disturbing.
Not our Foley. It was
I haven't heard from him, so I presume it's not. Now, while you're looking for said video, I shall explain what you see. You need to see this video. I cannot believe you didn't see it. All right.
I don't like watching beheadings.
Well, the thing is, you don't see the beheading. That's the whole joke.
Oh, another one of those.
They fade to black while he's using a very small knife to carve into his throat, which produces no blood splatter whatsoever. Fades to black.
It should, because you cut that artery over there, and it's going to go all over.
The aorta. And then you see the next shot is what I think is just about the worst Photoshop in the world, including a phony drop shadow of the guy's head on his back. Do you have the video yet?
I can't find it.
Ugh.
Okay, let me go to YouTube. They must have it there.
Yeah, of course you have it on YouTube.
Well, they may not.
Do I have to send you a link? Seriously?
I'll find it before you have to send it. Don't worry. Okay, now I'm just going to go to beheading on YouTube. Behead Foley. Now we get somebody at the door. Why do you want to behead Foley?
I'm going to, while you're looking for that.
Here it is. The video shows Islamic State beheading U.S. journalist James Foley.
Yeah.
IS beheads kidnapped journalist James. Okay, this looks like it. This video is no longer available because the YouTube account has been terminated. Let me try another one. See, this is no good. Try this one. Continue.
I'm going to,
Okay, I'm watching it now.
Okay. It was kind of important. You need to listen to the sound, and it's a guy with a British accent. So first you see Foley reading a script, which is either on a teleprompter or a cue card. Typically these things, when done in the desert, are done with a piece of paper. But I guess they have big cue cards. You know how they read from a piece of paper? So they have cue cards. He's got a wireless lav on, which...
It's got a wireless lav. Nice.
Yeah, it's just a nice touch. Which then in the next shot is... I mean, you'll see the guy in the black next to him doesn't have a knife, and then they cut to the next shot, and now this guy has the wireless mic on, and now he has a knife, and then he goes to cut his throat. But you'll see that they fade to black, and I'll just wait until you get to the end. And the guy who's speaking the Islamic State...
Hold on. It's too gruesome for us to show, according to CNN. Now I just have a bunch of still shots. Hold the guy up.
Would somebody please... All right.
An expert.
You'll just have to believe me. You don't, the original video does not include the actual decapitation. Here's the Today Show, and it'll give you a little background, including about Foley, who has been missing in captivity apparently since 2012.
Now we have to start with an horrific story this morning.
Is.
These images we're seeing, we're not going to be showing, but of the...
that's, again, we're not going to show you these horrific images, because it's clearly kind of fake.
Execution of an American journalist. This is an extremely disturbing story. Journalist James Foley was held for nearly 2 years after he was kidnapped in Syria. His family saying that Foley gave his life trying to expose the world to the suffering there. Andrea Mitchell is NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent. Andrea, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt. ISIS terrorists say that they killed American journalist James Foley in retribution for America's recent airstrikes against ISIS in Iraq. And they are now threatening another slaying unless President Obama backs down. James Foley, seen here just prior to his gruesome execution by ISIS, the radical Islamist group. Foley has been missing for 2 years, believed held with other Western hostages near Raqqa in northern Syria.
Check your email. You got a link to that.
So I'm watching this one report, and it shows Foley's mic'd.
Yeah.
Did you see that? And then he's not mic'd.
Yeah. You don't want to cut the cord.
That's not wireless.
It is wireless.
Oh, it's got a pack. I don't know if
he's got a mic pack.
But he has a wire coming down. I didn't see the mic pack.
Well, it's in his back pocket where it belongs when you mic somebody.
You can put it in your front.
There's no wire.
There's all kinds of places you can put it.
All right. Well, okay. Keep watching, and I'll continue to play this.
Okay, keep playing.
An experienced journalist, most recently with Global Post, Foley was abducted on Thanksgiving Day 2012 in northern Syria. 6 weeks after he went missing, his family spoke for the first time publicly about his kidnapping on Today.
After 40 days without information, we felt it was important to make people aware and remind them that Jim's an objective journalist. He's an innocent journalist who's doing his job.
Foley had previously been held captive for 44 days by pro-Gaddafi forces in Libya in 2011. After his release, he was passionate about the need to cover wars, despite the danger, as he told the Boston Globe.
I believe that frontline journalism is important. Without these photos and videos and first-hand experience, we can't really tell the world how bad it might be.
ISIS, an offshoot of al-Qaeda, did release 4 French journalists in April, and other Westerners reportedly after their governments or go-betweens paid ransom, although they have denied it. The video also purportedly shows another American journalist, Steven Sotloff, whom ISIS says it will kill next if the U.S. continues its airstrikes in Iraq. Late Tuesday, Foley's mother, Diane, issued a family statement saying, "We thank Jim for all the joy he gave us. He was an extraordinary son, brother, journalist, and person." And she wrote, "We implore the kidnappers to spare the lives of the remaining hostages. Like Jim, they are innocents."
Now, I want to be careful because there are parents involved here, but just if your son is missing for 2 years, and you see this video, which I think you must have almost seen the whole thing. I would not, just seeing this video, I would not immediately say, oh, well, he's dead. I would say, this looks like bullcrap. Do you see the last shot?
I'm watching it now. I had to scan through it to find where the action was because there was a bunch of Obama stuff at the beginning. Okay, you just need to go to the Islamic State website, man. No, I'm here. I'm watching it now. I mean, I don't want to change what I'm watching. I'm watching the guy, the black guy. The guy in the black is standing next to him. A beheading seems to me should be done with a big sword or something.
I agree. It'd
be more dramatic.
Tree trunk, yeah.
Than a penknife. It's not really. It's like the headless body found in topless bar scenario that took place in New York at a nightclub that was famous for its headline. In the
have you seen the Fade to Black yet?
No. They're yakking.
Who's yakking? Oh, the terrorist?
No, the guy, the kid, Foley.
Okay.
Blah blah blah.
Now you see he's doing this from a cue card.
He's reading something, yes. Yeah. That's pretty obvious.
But that's also not typical. Typically, they give him a piece of paper, and they use words like, "That ship has sailed." Who wrote that? Is that an expression in Arabic? That ship has sailed, Obama. Interesting, I think. I think that's interesting. Whoever wrote this, And then we have some data on that. This being a British accent, which you will hear, the terrorist, all dressed in black.
This is just going on forever. My God!
Can't you just fast forward to the end? And by the way, just you got to watch these things, man.
And by the way, well, I do to see a phony staging. And by the way, it seems to me that you want a sword and you want to grow the guy's hair out.
Yeah, so you can grab onto it.
Yeah, so you can hold the hair. This guy's got a buzz cut. What is that all about?
Here are the parents. Very strange interview played over and over again on CNN. And their phones are going, and they're just not grief stricken, and they are all in the same day. Whereas, just seeing this video, I would not be so convinced.
Oh, just that we're very proud of Jim. You know, he was a courageous, fearless journalist, very compassionate.
You saw the whole thing. You saw the fade to black.
Yeah,
and you saw the
guy's grinding away on the guy's neck.
No blood. No blood splatter.
No blood coming out. And then the next thing you know, the guy's head's on his back.
Now, how fake did that look? Didn't it look like a drop shadow underneath his head?
It doesn't look right.
Thank you.
And it doesn't make sense that they would go through. Well, I don't know.
So here's the question. If you're going to use this type of scenario to...
this is why... stop a second. This is why I'm so... into the idea that this entire ISIS thing is staged by the U.S. government, because it would be an American that would say, no, we can't do it that way because it's too gruesome. Let's do this. I mean, because you could bring an FX guy in from Hollywood.
That's what it looks like. It looks... I have seen...
No, but I think you could bring an FX guy in from Hollywood and actually chop somebody's head off. I've seen it in the movies. I've seen heads flying off of bodies.
So my point is, if you're going to go through this length to authorize more force and split Iraq into 3 parts, what the mission is, if you really want the president to have something to say, if you really want to scare people about the Islamic State, why don't you actually just cut a guy's head off and do it right? What is this? Why is this? This is what I don't understand. It reeks of the phony baloney Muslim video. Like someone did this and they pulled this out of... It's like an archive. We got something? We need something. Does anybody have something? Hey, group, team. We need something. Yeah, I got this video we did 2 years ago. Because you don't see the guy speaking, so it could be a voiceover, it could be any. You don't actually see his mouth moving in sync with anything. I don't know. I do not like what I'm seeing.
In this tape, you do see his mouth moving in sync with what he says. But not after the point where they start to saw away. It's like sawing.
And there's discrepancies in this. And I'm going to play some of this because the whole thing is very bothersome. And I don't want to be cavalier because, if someone's son is dead, fine. Although I didn't notice the president come out and say, we're so sorry about Staff Sergeant Benjamin Prang, 30, or Keith Williams, 19, California, who were killed by an IED last week in Kandahar. And no one's talking about that. Who cares? A journalist. Now we have to stop the press. And here's the president describing ISIL, IS, whatever you want to call it. And we'll get to that. And I do not understand if this was done as a retaliation for the United States bombing ISIS, airstrikes. How can you then say that they asked for a ransom? That those two don't go together. If they want to say, stop bombing or we'll cut off this other guy's head, but if you give me $130 million, which they don't need because we already have this bullcrap story that they have $500 million, get your story straight, people.
Let's be clear about ISIL. They have rampaged across cities and villages, killing innocent, unarmed civilians in cowardly acts of violence. They abduct women and children and subject them to torture and rape and slavery.
I didn't know about the slavery.
They have murdered Muslims, both Sunni and Shia, by the thousands. They target Christians and religious minorities, driving them from their homes, murdering them when they can, for no other reason than they practice a different religion.
Hold on a second.
No, the slavery was what was in that art. That we talked about slavery.
He just said they killed
$2, by the way. $3, you get a slave.
He just said they kill people for no other reason but then because they like to pray differently.
No other reason than they practice a different religion.
So he's saying ISIS is this way and kills Sunnis, Shias, Christians, everybody because they practice a different religion. This is why they do it?
They declare their ambition to commit genocide against an ancient people. So ISIL speaks for no religion.
Wait a minute. How can they speak for no religion if they don't like the religion people are practicing? I'm confused.
Very poorly written.
Their victims are overwhelmingly Muslim, and no faith teaches people to massacre innocents. No just God.
Every single faith makes people go massacre. You kidding me?
Would stand for what they did yesterday and what they do every single day. ISIL has no ideology of any value to human beings.
They have no ideology, but they kill people because they don't like the way they pray. I'm sorry. Whoever wrote this should be ashamed of themselves.
Their ideology
is vacation time.
Bankrupt. They may claim out of expediency that they are at war with the United States or the West, but the fact is they terrorize their neighbors and offer them nothing but an endless slavery to their empty vision and the collapse of any definition of civilized behavior.
Okay, so now we know the definition of ISIS.
Wait a minute. Endless slavery.
Endless slavery.
To their, what was it, vision? Their go back. You got to play it back because this is a great phrase.
Okay, hold on a second. Where was I?
Their vacuous vision or something, like vacant vision, something.
They may claim out of expediency that rise their neighbors and offer them nothing but an endless slavery to their empty vision.
Empty vision.
Endless slavery to their empty vision.
Now that was the nut there.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Endless slavery to their empty vision. Wow.
Now, this is obviously intended to frighten everybody.
This is like World War I's level propaganda.
And it's gotten really good. We just heard that they kill men and women, they enslave women, they rape women, they kill people. Now, CNN it's their job, and we know that this is the old ex-NBC guys. This is kind of like their version of Malaysia 370. They're going to run with this for as far as they can. Brooke Baldwin, who I somehow just kind of start to like the way she looks. At least, yeah, I don't know. Something about her that I picked up, and I look her up. I watch her a lot.
James Foley reads a message, presumably scripted by his captors, denouncing America. And Foley's last words, quote, "I wish I had more time to see my family." And then James Foley is beheaded. The brutal...
No. We don't see that.
ISIS executioner appears to have a British accent.
Aha!
James Foley.
I want to ask a rhetorical question.
Okay.
By the way, Brooke Baldwin looked better as a blonde. If you're gonna, they've captured you. They've kept your hair on, let's say, and they're going to behead you.
Right.
And you know this is coming. You're going to have your head whacked off, and or sawed off the way this guy did it. Why would you do any of that? You just say, screw you guys, you suck. I mean, and scream.
That's what I'd be doing. Yeah, I'd be screaming.
I wouldn't be reading a script.
Funny you mention that because I have looked around at a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm always very interested in the shooting guys in the back of the head, which is also apparently IS. And I'm always surprised that these guys are on their knees or sitting down, and they put the gun to the head, and they pull the trigger, and they go from one to the next, and these guys don't move. And that's as far as I can tell, that's real shooting people in the back of the head, and they slump over, and the next guy goes. I would be beside myself. I'd be freaking out. I know we don't understand this culture, John. We have no idea how this works. But this is an American. And he's a journalist, and obviously he's heroic in his calmness. Stoically heroic.
40 years of age, was a freelance photojournalist from New Hampshire. ISIS, meanwhile, is now considered the world's most dangerous terror group, and not just that, but also the most repugnant. I want you to listen to this Iraqi American. He lives in California and maintains sources inside Iraq.
Now, this is inside information. Maintains sources in Iraq. I think I looked this guy up, actually, just because I thought it was so funny what he's about to say. So I'll give you his background in a moment.
day by day, it's getting worse and worse. More children are being beheaded. Mothers are being raped and killed.
More children are being beheaded. Ha!
The fathers are being hung.
The atrocities committed by ISIS are well known, but still, you're startling me with the severity of what you're describing. You say they are beheading children?
They are systematically beheading children.
Why don't we have video of that? Systematically. What are they like? They have a checklist and time to cut off a head. It's 3 past the hour. Weather on the 8s.
And mothers and fathers. The world hasn't seen an evil like this for generations. There's actually a park in Mosul that they've actually beheaded children and put their heads on a stick.
On a stick?
And they have them in the park.
They cut the heads off children, put them on a stick, and then put it in the park.
This is crimes against humanity.
I say...
Beheading children.
I love the little beheading children. Beheading children. Pay attention.
This is ISIS. Paul Cruikshank joins me, a CNN terrorism analyst, and Michael Weiss,
there we go.
columnist both at Foreign Policy and now Lebanon. Paul, let me just begin with you. You've written extensively about potential retaliation. Let me bring up the London accent of that masked ISIS terrorist who speaks in the video. We know that quite a few Europeans who fought with ISIS actually have gone back to Europe. Could this be a signal for them to start carrying out attacks either, in Europe or the U.S.?
Well, the worry is...
Yeah, of course.
Brooke, that it could be. There are a significant number of Europeans in this group.
Now, this is the continuing narrative that there's Europeans over there. They've got Western passports. They're going to come back. They're going to start... no one's really said it this way, but I hope someone connects the bridge and says they will be beheading children systematically in Europe. And in the U.S., this is the bridge. I think
that would be great.
They should say that.
So 1,000 in this group, and that gives them the opportunity to train them and to get them to return to Europe and even onto the United States to launch attacks. There's also civic concern because there are hundreds of people who fought with groups like ISIS in Syria and Iraq who are now back in Europe. There's concern that they could launch attacks in the days to come, Brooke.
In the days to come, launch attacks, not just commit acts of terror, but launch attacks in the days to come, Brooke.
So we talk about potential retaliation and attacks. Michael, to you have a little bit more on the video and of this attacker himself.
The Guardian just...
Stand by for this. You're going to love this.
Broke a story a couple hours ago disclosing that the man who did the beheading is thought to be called John. He's a British national from London, actually, and that he is part of a 3-man ring of captors, all of them British. The nickname for this group is the Beatles because of their national origin.
Now this is good. I'm really liking 3 guys from Britain we now call the Beatles. Who came up with... It's 4. It can be the Fab 4.
Yeah, but it should be 4. And I like the idea because you can also nickname them the Beheading Beatles.
The original Beatles were called the Silver Beatles. Now this has spread. So now we're taking the Beatles, and again, it's whoever came up with this. I don't know. Maybe there was another meeting. Oh my God! No one understands. No one's getting it. We have to have a name. If we call it the Beatles, maybe we can get Paul McCartney to be outraged about it. I'm just waiting for that. Now, here is the next report where the Beatles... Now,
I'm putting that in the red book because I'm convinced now that is actually going to happen.
Makes sense.
This is something...
And he could also head up the benefit concert. Here we go, more Beatles.
This is something that came out in the Guardian newspaper here, and they say that they've spoken to a number of other people who were held by this group.
By the way, this is the second report that uses the Guardian as the source for the name the Beatles. So it's the Guardian who is setting this up.
Known as the Beatles. And they're called the Beatles because they're a group of young British jihadis that are out there. And
I think they should have like a,
Makes sense.
Hey, everybody, we're the jihadis known as the Beatles.
Hey, we're the jihadis.
They should have that jingle all the time. Hey, everybody, we're the jihadi group known as the Beatles. They got a little stinger. Whenever someone says jihadi group known as the Beatles, we'll play the stinger. You recognize that, by the way?
Yes, from A Long Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night.
Described as being one of the main jail keepers of foreign prisoners there and one of the main negotiators. Now, we have not independently confirmed that, but
no, of course not.
There are hundreds of young men and even a few women that have gone to Syria to fight.
Woo-hoo! And they're known as the Beatles. Okay. This is just crazy. But now we need to bring the douchebags out.
This is the Guardian, of course. The Guardian's MI6. So we know this is a government operation from the get-go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's bring out a couple people who can look official, talk a good name, a good game.
A good name.
A good name.
They actually talked a good name.
Talked a good name.
The Beatles.
Hayden was out. A former CIA chief. He was on all the channels with the same message.
Oh, God.
And
he is paying. Essentially, Hayden is on the stump as a retired CIA guy, forced to go out and spew the propaganda because he could be arrested at any time as a war criminal. And I believe that they've given him a choice to face the music or become a shill.
Well, we know his choice. His choice is obvious.
Not just try to protect or rescue our citizens, but we have got to take the wood to ISIS.
The wood?
We got to take the we got to take the wood to ISIS. Brooke liked this.
And simply make them less capable of doing the kind of harm they clearly intend to do to us.
You say take the wood to ISIS.
I got some wood for you right here.
What needs to be done?
What does that mean? Take like a baseball bat? What is that? Take the wood to ISIS?
Means, or a 2x4.
Just try to protect or rescue our citizens, but we have got to take the wood to ISIS and simply make them less capable of doing the kind of harm they clearly intend to do to us.
You say take the wood to ISIS.
Yeah.
What needs to be done? And why is ISIS such a threat to America?
Can I read this any worse?
Possibly.
Well, first of all, the president's articulated a policy. We're going to prevent genocide and atrocities, and we're going to protect Americans like in the consulate in Erbil.
Yeah, the consulate, and I don't know, the good oil companies, and the nice hotels, and people. We have a conference coming up September 1st.
That's good. But you know what? The president's actions are already pretty much beyond those limited objectives. I mean, we were kind of the Kurdistan Air Force, weren't we? And the retaking of the Mosul Dam.
I like that. We're the Kurdistan Air Force and retaking of the Mosul Dam. This thing has to blow. This would be perfect. If you blow up the Mosul Dam, everyone gets flooded all the way down to Baghdad. Will someone please blow this thing up already?
Providing close air support to Peshmerga fighters and Iraqi special forces. Look, we're all tired of war. We all have fatigue about
We're all tired of war.
About this. But I really do think that's the right course of action. We need to do more of that. We need to degrade ISIS, which is more than a terrorist organization. It's a government and it's an army.
And they're a British pop band.
And we just simply have to make them less capable. If you're looking for a metaphor here, all right, and I'm not taking part in any detailed planning that's going on or anything, we need to begin to treat ISIS territory in Iraq and Syria the way we have treated Waziristan for the last decade.
Now finally he's telling the truth. Waziristan, which I will remind listeners, no one had heard of, and I said on this show, look out for Waziristan because I saw the pipeline.
You're the first.
Went through the province and through Waziristan, and this is all about pipeline protection. I said, be on the lookout, and lo and behold, no one had ever heard of Waziristan. It's on the map. We're droning guys left and right. And he is correct. He is correct. We need to treat this particular issue just like Waziristan. We need to stop the pipeline coming from Iran, Iraq through Syria out into the port. And we need to enable any pipelines coming up from our friendly Saudi Arabians or the Qataris going up through Homs and Aleppo into Turkey. So he is telling the truth. We need to be droning people who are on the wrong side of history, killing them and enabling everybody else. I agree. If there were strategy, and of course he's not a part of that, this would be what you do.
ISIS territory in Iraq and Syria, the way we have treated Waziristan for the last decade. Make them worried about their survival rather than planning to threaten yours and mine.
Exactly. If there was one other stooge you could invite during all of this to scare people, come on. You know,
Bear?
Who's always ready? The disc jockey.
The disc?
Mike Rogers, the new disc jockey, chairman of the. Is it what committee is he on? The security.
He is on the House Intelligence Committee. He's the head of it.
Mm-hmm.
House Intelligence,
and he is still in office, and he is telling you how it is. He's the guy who coined the term jihadi Disneyland. Boy, was he right.
Yes, he is of all these guys.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
By the way, of all these guys, as far as I'm concerned, he is the worst offender.
Oh, yeah.
And the difference here is that before 9/11, there was single-level threat streams coming into the United States. So pretty
single-level threat streams. Write it down.
Serious.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got in and conducted the attacks on 9/11.
Obviously.
Now you have multiple organizations, all Al-Qaeda-minded, trying to accomplish the same thing.
Okay. Multiple all Al-Qaeda-minded.
Well, can I ask you a question? Just kind of theoretical here or something, hypothetical?
Mm-hmm.
With the single level threat stream, they could bring down the Twin Towers. Now, that's been, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
13 years ago?
13 years ago, yeah.
Now, but since then, they've had multiple level threat streams, and they've accomplished nothing?
It is even worse than that, John. It is even worse than your hypothetical question.
Thousands of individuals now signing up with ISIL to fight their jihad in Syria and Iraq have Western passports. That's what's so dangerous about this. We also know that they want to conduct an attack, but so does Al-Qaeda. And so now you have two competing terrorist organizations.
It's a contest.
Wow.
It's the Super Bowl of terrorism.
Both of them want to get their credentials to the point where they can say, we are the premier terrorist organization.
Come see us. We are the premier terrorist organization. They should have commercials. When you want the job done right, you come to the premier terrorist organization.
Both want to conduct attacks in the West for that reason.
Yeah.
And guess what? That means we lose at the end. If either one of those organizations is successful, we lose. And here's something interesting, Bob. We've seen some very interesting relationships between AQ in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, out of Yemen, and Al-Qaeda on a very aggressive, I think the Attorney General said that it was one of the worst, or one of the things keeps him up at night, and I would concur with him. That is an attack that many believe is going operational, and that's what we should be worried about.
Do you think that we're in greater danger?
What did he say?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Listen to the final question. It doesn't matter what he says. He's full of shit.
Be worried about.
Do you think that we're in greater danger now than perhaps we were before 9/11?
I do, again, only because the threat matrix is so wide and it's so deep. We just didn't have that before 9/11.
The threat matrix is so deep, we are in more danger than before 9/11. You heard it from the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
No, House.
The House Intelligence Committee himself. Now, so if we have this competition for one of these groups to be the premier terrorist organization,
we're number one.
What do you need to have set in stone?
A double elimination tournament.
You need the branding, man. The branding. Here's Marie Harf, Bandcamp girl, spokeshole for the State Department, and she just sums it up. She's getting pissed off about it. She can't even figure it out.
So would you say that the U.S. and Syria are on the same page against a common enemy?
No. I would not. And in large part, that's because it's the Assad regime's own actions that helps lead to the rise of ISIS or ISIL or IS or whatever we're going to call it this week.
Sponsorship, underwriting, advertising, call it whatever you want.
Can these people not get it together? This morning I saw an imam who's in America, and he was on one of the news shows. And he's smart, this guy. We need to fight the brand.
I know you said something similar to me off camera, that ISIS shouldn't be called ISIS, correct?
Absolutely. We have to fight them on four major fronts. We have to fight them ideologically.
Ideologically, okay, write that down, John. We need to bring the wood to them ideologically.
We have to fight them in terms of their branding.
Their branding. We have to fight their branding.
Yeah, they got to get rid of that. I think they should get the Oakland Raiders immediately should sue them
for use of their
flag. That would be good.
He has an idea, this imam, by the way.
To fight them militarily or to fight them economically. As Iftikhar pointed out, we should not even call them Islamic State. We should call them the terrorist assassins of Syria and Iraq. Which
would be TASI. He's suggesting yet a fourth brand. ISIS, ISIL, IS, and now TASI. What did he say? It was the terrorist...
Assassins.
The terrorist assassins of Syria and Iraq.
The terrorist assassins of Syria and Iraq, which I think is a good try.
Well, we need some. We should have some of our producers come up with some monikers that might be better.
We should rebrand it that way, and we should all universally agree, because that is.
Is there an RFP for this rebranding that we haven't seen yet? Has that come through? Can we pitch? Can we pitch the business?
Important in terms of shaping the perception of both non-Muslims and Muslims about this group.
Right. And then of course, we always have someone capitalizing on this. Ted Poe, Republican from Texas, dickhead.
For a long time, you and I have been talking about border security being national security, and yet we look to Mexico and the drug cartels beheading their opponents. Is there synergy? Is there interaction? Is there a connection between the Mexican cartels and groups like ISIS?
I think they have a letter of intent or maybe a memorandum of understanding. It's time for some acquisitions. Yes, mergers and acquisitions, please.
Yes. There seems to be at least talking to each other.
They're talking to each other. Hey, hello. Jose. It's Mohammed here. What are you using these days? Let's see if we can. Are you going to be Mohammed or Jose? What do you want to be?
I'll be Jose.
Hello, Kettle.
No.
I'm not Kettle. Jose.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello,
Jose. Is Mohammed here?
See, it's Jose.
I am Jose.
Hello, I'm Jose.
Jose, we're working on it.
Who is this?
This is Mohammed.
Which Mohammed?
Mohammed from TASI, terrorist assassins.
Oh yes,
Syria, Iraq, TASI.
We've been wanting to talk to you.
We have problem with branding and positioning.
I have problem with my accent.
Me too.
What? Say you're breaking up.
Mohammed here.
Are you on the satellite phone?
Mohammed here.
Yes, Mohammed. Yes, Jose.
Jose. What should we do? Should we behead more people? How do we behead? Small knife, big knife?
I would say that you should try a pencil. Or a small hacksaw.
All right.
Use a hacksaw because it's cheap.
This is going nowhere. No. I will finalize.
They're going to do a deal.
Yeah. So everyone's jumping on board, saying whatever they want to say, as long as it sounds scary. And of course,
as long as you're going to attack us any minute.
Any second now, launching an attack within days. And the best part is our Bandcamp girl, Marie Harf. Well, I'll let you listen to it.
In terms of the video, was the secretary and the president that were briefed on the video, did they watch the video?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm happy to check. I have not watched the video and don't intend to.
She has not watched the video and doesn't intend to. Okay.
Well, she's already been, she already saw the script. Although I don't think this is any deal that they'd have any. I don't think this is a State Department activity. This is definitely, this is intelligence agencies. This has got to be MI6 and CIA.
Well, they need help, and they're doing a crappy job.
They're doing a great job. No, they're only doing a crappy job for you, me, and our listeners, and that's a small number of people, relatively speaking. Big for a podcast.
I agree with that. I'm just disappointed. You're so right. The special effects guys could do such a great job, and this is what we get?
It's all you need. They're good, low budget. Have you taken a look at the kind of money they'd rather spend it on hookers and blow?
There you go. Which is not a good combination, actually. Doesn't work well together. I'm reliably informed.
Well, it's because you get robbed, probably. All right, enough of this.
Well, we need some kind of final analysis because it's going to continue. This is not going to stop. I'm sorry to have to say that I really don't believe this video is authentic. It is crazy that it fades to black. There's no blood. There's drop shadow. There's no analysis. We're not showing it. Ooh, it's so horrible. Of course, it's a journalist.
Why would that be, except unless somebody was directing it and they said, no, this is too much. It's like the other one. They had to cut it off because they can only produce, because you don't need, the guy would say, I could see the meetings. He said, we don't need to go that far. We don't need to bring in Hollywood and actually chop the guy's head off.
We just say it happened. With
the Hollywood guy, you can make it look like you chopped his head off. It's not that hard. You make a mold of the guy's head, put it on a whatever.
It's not even, John. It's Photoshop. It's just inserted with a drop shadow.
Yeah,
it's insulting. It really is, and I don't know exactly how it works with these parents.
This is bothersome that you can see through it. It's effective. I'll take the side of the government on this. This works. It works. Yeah, sure. It's a cheap Photoshop job that any amateur could spot a mile away. And it makes no sense that it was shot like this, but it worked. If you listen to the talk radio shows, they're all talking about this. Oh, this journalist has had his head chopped off. It's working fine. I don't know what your complaint is. It works.
Well, I have a couple of complaints. And one is, forget it works. Great. If the president would at least say a few words every week about servicemen and women who die in the course of action, important. It's not. It's an insult. People should be going AWOL. They should be revolting. Come back home. We need you. We need your protection against the police. Hello, Army. Come back home. We need your help here. It's flabbergasting. It's insulting. And you're right. It works. It absolutely works. We are so used to fake stuff that it's okay. Yeah.
Now, I want to play which is related to this. I want to play, people can turn off or go forward. This is a profane clip. It's not as bad as the guy's normal act, which is pretty bad. But this is a black comic named Cat Williams. Now, if he's not a No Agenda listener, he's a No Agenda analyst. And I have two clips from him. The first one we'll play this and you can tell me if you want to play the second one.
Okay.
But this is Cat Williams on the Boston Marathon. This is his stand-up bit. I believe it's on HBO or it's on Showtime, one of the two pay-per-view things. And he deconstructs part of the Boston Marathon bombing and discusses the police. And this is a profane black comic.
The police used to be serve and protect. Used to be you are presumed innocent until you are proven guilty. Police is on some different shit. They done figured out they can kill your ass today and come up with a story for the news tomorrow. They done figured that shit out. And they done got so good, they can show us the truth, and we can see the truth with our own eyes, and then they can lie to us at the same time and confuse us about the truth we just saw with our own eyes. Okay, the first time we all saw it was at the Boston Marathon bombing. Everybody was looking for the fake-ass, bullshit-ass terrorist. He had a 4-day head start. He could have been anywhere. But we knew he was in the boat because they told us he was in the boat. From a helicopter, that's him in the boat right there. That's him in the boat. Drew a picture around him. That's him laying down at the bottom of the boat. Then they said, the police are here. We gonna back up. Let the police go in and begin negotiations. And all we heard was brat, brat-tat-tat, brat-tat-tat, brat-tat-tat. Then they cut to commercial. By the time they came back, that motherfucker had 20 holes in his chest, a tunnel in his throat. The next day they say he was in a gunfight. But he didn't have a gun.
Very good. Very good. I hadn't heard of this guy. I like him.
Yeah, he does this, and
where was this done? Do you know what the venue was?
I don't know what the venue was. It's hard to say. I'd have to relook it up. But he does the same thing with the Dorner guy. And
well, I look forward to working with him when you're dead. We'll be ebony and ivory. The best podcast in the universe. Feel free to use him if I croak first.
Yeah, well, we can. He probably already makes more money than we do. Anyway, so that was just an example.
What's the second one? Is it good?
The second one is another one very similar.
I'd like to
and it's about the guy, and this is a little more profane because he's going off on this in a different way. But this is about the guy that was caught in the cabin and they burnt the place down, and the rest. You know that guy, the cop, the black cop that they were after in L.A.
Oh, whose wallet they found twice.
Right, and whose guns somehow were even singed.
Yes, that one.
Second time we saw was in L.A. when they was looking for the ex-black cop, Christopher Dorner. That was some scary shit. They wanted that nigga bad.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, I was in L.A. at the time, and let me just say, you do not want to be a nigga when they are looking for niggas. That was some scary shit. I didn't realize how much of my time I spent being black till I had to try to drive white for 2 days. Them motherfuckers want that nigga bad. They shot up 2 Hispanic women in a pickup truck delivering newspapers at 4:30 in the morning looking for a nigga. Wait a minute. That is too early and too late for niggas. We not finna be nowhere at 4:30 in the morning, not even if we supposed to be. But we knew he was in the cabin because they told us he was in the cabin. He's in the cabin. The police have him completely surrounded. There's nowhere for him to go. We are going back up. Let the police go in and begin negotiations. And all we saw was, get that motherfucker. Then they said, it looks like he committed suicide. They just barbecued this nigga on national TV.
Yeah, not very good.
Well, that just points out that
not everyone.
There's a lot of people out there that see the reality of the situation, and it's not to be taken lightly.
But of course, after a show like that, everyone was, that was great. Let's go back and forget about it.
Let's go back and watch the news.
Exactly.
Well,
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We have a lot of people to thank.
Really?
Well, actually, not that many.
Really?
But we have some people to thank for show 645. And we'll go to 646, which is kind of interesting. 646. Including Anonymous in Brussels, Belgium. Thanks for the entertaining analysis. Could use some karma for good health if there is any left. We'll give you some karma at the end for good health, $169.
Where do you? I don't even see Anonymous from Brussels, Belgium. Where are you looking?
Aaron.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. I see it now. I'm up to speed. I'm here. I'm with you.
Aaron Murphy in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, $100. Great Ebola analysis. This is my dude named Ben donation. Another dude. Do we have a lot of dudes named Ben?
Well,
Bend. Bend.
They need a community somewhere.
William Carter, Broomfield, Colorado, another $100 donation. We have a birthday call out there. Anonymous.
One second. I received an anonymous donation here. And people, do not do this. If you're going to send checks, send it to the P.O. box. It confuses everything. Yeah, the anonymous says it's a Desi Night donation, $100. Is there anything else here? What's up with your Prepper SDR? Okay. People, please don't do this. Keep it all going to one place. It's much better.
Goes right into the bank, which is near the post office box. Rebecca McGinley in San Diego, California, $99.99, and she wants a 99999 call out.
Oh, well, I wasn't quite ready for that, but here you go.
99999. Anonymous in Grants Pass, Oregon, 8003. We got a sack of sevens. I requested sacks of sevens, but we got one from Robert Goshko in Sherwood Park, Alberta, with this, which is 7777 is our 7th anniversary donation number. We've morphed the sack of sevens to the
7-year
our anniversary.
When is it?
In October. It's coming up shortly.
Oh, really?
As soon as you get back from Amsterdam, we'll be getting close.
It seems like we just celebrated 6.
A year ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gustavo Patai, I guess. I'm not sure. In Jamaica, New York, 70. I have a note.
This is a check?
Yeah, this is a check that came in.
Nice.
And where is his note? My father and I could use job karma, and I could also use some, we'll put some exam karma. Keep up the great work. We'll give you some at the end.
Absolutely.
Job karma for Gustavo. Andrew Huber in Angola, New York, 6969. Sir Rick in Arlington, Washington, 6933. And now I'm remembering to call him Sir Rick. This is our buddy Bressler. Ghana Manakova in Karlsruhe, Deutschland. We got a happy birthday coming out with a add the whip it to the Constitution thing, to the little deals you do at the end there. Andrew Lemessany in Colorado Springs, Colorado, 6660. Scott Waldhair in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, 6660. Daniel Ehrlich in Boalsburg, Pennsylvania. A lot of weird little towns today, 6660.
Karma for me and all the other slaves is all I ask for. Coming up.
Adrian Turner, Hove, East Sussex, UK, double nickels on the dime. Kathleen Stokes in Woburn, Massachusetts. She says that thanks for keeping my commute to Boston sane. Keep up the great work. Also for feedback, the puppies are great, but I do enjoy some kittens with my curried Sharptons.
More kittens.
Well, it's dog days. I mentioned in the newsletter, and dog days calls for dogs.
Is this officially the dog days of summer? Is that what it is now?
Yeah, August. That's why our donations are down. We only have 2 producers.
That's why donations are down and terror is up.
Donations down, terror is up. Philip Veenstra in St. Louis, Missouri.
Interesting. I would say
boots on the ground information.
Veenstra is what I'd say.
Double nickels on the dime. Bob Wassenaar in Utrecht. Double nickels on the dime. Dominic Ruggiero in Laval, Quebec. Double nickels on the dime. And the rest of these are $50.
Hold on a second. He says, after my wife Sonia Mateo donated to the show for our anniversary and never having donated myself, I felt like quite the douche. Here's hoping the donation corrects that. Thank you. So de-douche him at least.
You've been de-douched.
And thank you for your wife bringing you into the fold.
Somebody sent in something, and they had a whole list of people they wanted douched. And I think it came in by email. So whoever that was, I want to remind you, we'll do the douching because it's a bunch of friends on Sunday. I'll have to go dig up that note.
Oh, write it down.
That won't help.
I know.
And so here's the $50 donors. David Oliver in San Francisco, California. Thanks for keeping me properly informed, he says. Dublin, California, Eric Veet. Frank Easley, Leland, and Ted in Allen, Texas.
Todd.
I said Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I said Ted. It's Todd. Can you get that straight?
Yep.
Bruce Schwalm. Parts unknown. 50. Daniel Howes in Portland, Maine. Roger Gregsby in Santa Cruz, California. Martin van Galenlast.
Martijn van Galenlast.
Martijn van Galenlast in Beneden Leeuwen.
You sound like you really are on the spectrum, my friend.
Netherlands. Andrew Haverson in Gravenhurst, Ontario, Canada. Michael Gates in Colorado Springs, no relation. Eliza Rivera in Florence, South Carolina. And finally, Sir Mark Tanner in Whittier, California. I do have a note from Eliza, which is a handwritten note. ITM, John and Adam, I recently got a speeding ticket that would have been 4 points and $130 for this point thing. A friend advised me to show up in court, bring something, blah, blah, blah. I showed up, declined myself. Well, I can't read a word he's written. This is all longhand. It's hard to read. Politely asked for a reduction. It read, it gave me an $80 fine, so he's donating the rest of the money to us.
That's
so
nice.
He went to court and begged for mercy. And that seemed to have paid off in terms of lowering his $130 deal.
Well, I hope the judge is not listening.
No, I hope the judge is listening. There's a way the judge can support the show.
Oh, good point. I'm sorry, I take it back.
Anyway, this is for show 645. I want to thank all these folks, and especially for helping us out. And any amount helps, by the way. And we do have a show 646 coming up, and we'd like some support to get rid of these dog days. Maybe we could up it a little bit. So far, we've been saved by 2 Instanites. Otherwise, we'd have pretty poor showing.
Are you going to do another contest, or are you going to keep it as it is?
Well, I don't know of a No. I'm not going to do the contest anymore. That was good once. Yeah, a lot of these things are. I mean, just like the 666 thing. I got one.
Well, you know what? Screw the contest. People, listen. We're doing work here. It appears we're delivering some value. You're in your car for hours on end every single day. If you're listening and you're getting through it, and we're helping you, we're putting a smile on your face. Certainly, I think that's worth something. That's all we ask for, value for value. That is our model. That's how we keep it going. And
cheaper than a movie. And better.
And better special effects. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Help us out, please.
Dvorak.org/NA. Whooping the Constitution.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
And 2 quick ones today. William Carter says happy birthday to Cotton, who turned 28 yesterday. Gana Manakova says happy birthday to her lovely husband, Philip Mizeldine. I hope I got the pronunciation right, but we mean it in any case. Happy birthday from your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Sorry. 2 nightings today.
Yay.
Yay, indeed. We have a note here from Rich Leiter, who will be knighted in a moment. Let me just grab this here. I guess this just goes to show that persistence paid off. After 5.5 years, I am finally a knight. I've added it all up, and I made the threshold, counting below. I'd like to be known as Richard Leiter, Lord of Law Libraries in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, this is Rich, who stopped by Austin, and he also sent me this lovely book about the disasters of the Mississippi.
Oh, nice.
He's the professor. He's the law who said I was pretty spot on 80% of the time. That I in effect, am a good lawyer. I'd like to give a shout out to Keith, Dave, Everett, and Sam of Lincoln and Faithful.
This is what I was talking about. This is the note.
Okay.
This is the douche, but you got to do them separately. Each one's a douchebag. He said right in there to call him a douchebag.
I don't see that with a douchebag.
He says he calls them out. Well, read the whole thing.
He says, I'd like to give a shout out to Keith, Dave, Everett, and Sam of Lincoln and Faithful FAS members and sometimes NA listeners. Oh, okay. You're right. But I'm duty bound to call them out as douchebags. Yes. Okay. Here we go. So Keith.
Douchebag.
And then we have Dave.
Douchebag.
And then we have Everett.
Douchebag.
And we have Sam.
Douchebag.
And then the faithful FAS members, whoever you are. They're all douchebags.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
a record-breaking douchebaggery.
That's a huge bag of douche.
Yep.
Step up the plate and vote for sanity. Also have to acknowledge Wendy, my best friend and tolerantly patient wife of 35 years, and no agenda fan, without whom this would not have been possible. He's accepting an Oscar, apparently.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Wow.
I like it. For my refreshment at the table, please supply Endradur and Monte Cristos, number 4.
I prefer the 2 myself.
Well, but, you don't get to make that choice now, do you?
And I don't smoke any cigars, so.
Me neither. It's an honor to take my seat at the round table, and I welcome all knights and producers to call on me for any legal research needs. Respectfully, he says, in the morning.
In the morning.
And with that, we grab our blades. Now, these are not any pussy like ISIS blades. This is a real sword. This stuff.
This
is really exactly. So, Rich Leiter, step on up. Along with Sports Junk, the both of you have contributed to the best podcast in the universe, the amount of $1,000 or more, and we are proud to welcome you to the round table of the Knights of the Danes. I hereby pronounce thee Sir Rich Leiter, Lord of the Law Libraries, and Sir Sports Junk, the knight who says knee. For you, gentlemen, hookers and blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Ass Cream with Bear Fillings, Endradur and Monte Cristo number 4, Girlfriend Experience, a good bourbon, porn stars and puppets and pork, Mushroom and Maker's Mark, Whiskey and Wet Wipes, Bong Hits and Bourbon, or if you prefer, Mutton and Mead. That night ring will look good on you, Rich. That'll look very good. Go to noagendanation.com/rings, and Eric the Shill will hook you up.
That's what he does.
Nice. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Let us see.
Quick, I have an aside clip.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Elizabeth Warren, a little short clip where she says something about Hillary, but she doesn't say anything. I'm just going to make sure this stays in the loop, that we can keep track of this woman, because she will be the next president of the United States.
Do you believe if Hillary Clinton is still the best choice coming up for your party, coming up for 2016?
Hillary is terrific.
But is she still the best choice, though?
I'm sorry?
Is she still the best choice?
Look,
you're being rescued. The rescuer is here.
It's time to go in.
All right, we just have a question about...
As you see, one of her supporters asked her to come inside and begin the event. She dodged that question because I didn't hear a yes or a no.
I thought it was funny because I boosted that clip, and then I actually got to hear the person whispering, going, "We've got to go inside.
You have to go inside right away. This is not good. We have to go. Please, no more questions."
Because there's always still the possibility and the fear that Hillary will get in, even though this seems less and less likely as time goes by. And then will screw over Elizabeth Warren for daring to challenge her.
If she doesn't kill her.
Well, that could happen too.
I'd say that would. I'd be very careful if you cross Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Now entering second half of show.
Yeah. Second half of show.
Uh-oh.
I've been following this guy, Paul Hellyer. Paul Hellyer is the former Minister of Defense for the Scandinavians. Let me pull up his wiki page. Hellyer.
Hellyer.
Yeah, I've been following this, but finally I got a clip that is short enough and to the point enough. Longest serving current member of the Privy Council.
Ooh, the Privy Council.
Mm-hmm.
We need a Privy Council for our group. Oh, there's a guy.
For our intelligence network. Anyway, here he is on RT in a recent interview.
Why do you say that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over our heads?
Well, because I know that they are.
This is my kind of guy. I know that they
know that they are. Okay.
Yeah, and he really confirms everything I've always believed in.
We've been, as a matter of fact, they've been visiting our planet for thousands of years. During the Cold War, 1961, there were about 50 UFOs in formation flying south from Russia to across Europe. And the Supreme Allied Commander was very concerned and about ready to press the panic button when they turned around and went back over the North Pole. So they decided to do an investigation, and they investigated for 3 years, and they decided that with absolute certainty that 4 different species, at least, had been visiting this planet for thousands of years.
That would be the Greys, the tall blondes, and I'm not sure.
Didn't we have a clip of the guy who listed like 6?
Well,
remember that clip. Why don't you look up aliens and see if there's that clip that defines the different species? There's the Greys and there's some green ones, and then there was some tall ones, and then there was something else. And I think there were 2 others.
Well, oh, yeah. Yes. No, it was a clip that you had. You're right, John.
Yes, I had the clip.
There we go.
A lot of people have actually worked at Area 51, and they have told me that they worked with beings who were from another planet. And they said there's more than one kind.
A large and a small-nosed gray, a reptile,
an orange, a blue, and the humanoids.
Oh.
I don't think that there's yet a complete story on what...
Well, that's bogus. Orange
Sounds
and
right
blue
to me.
one. No.
So that's we have a long
this is the real deal here.
History of UFOs, and of course, there's been a lot more activity in the last few decades.
Listen up. This is very important information.
We invented the atomic bomb, and they're very concerned about that and the fact that we might use it again, and because the whole cosmos is a unity. And it affects not just us, but other people in the cosmos. Exactly. They're very much afraid that we might be stupid enough to start using atomic weapons again, and this would be very bad for us and for them as well.
So the information that I have always had is that none of these nuclear weapons work at all. They are incapacitated by the 4 species of aliens who are protecting us and protecting the entire planetary universe. And since Nagasaki and Hiroshima, nothing has gone off.
Yeah, well, there's no proof of that, and there's plenty of evidence to the contrary, A. And B, if you read the Corso book, which apparently this Hellier character read, and he was less inclined to believe in any of this until he read Philip Corso's book, which I would recommend. It feels very
What is the name of this? What is the name of this book?
The Day After Roswell. Right. Very good book, very entertaining. And Corso says that we've been, and you've said this on occasion, so your own opinions about this bull crap are contradictory, because you've said on occasion the same thing Corso says in his book, that we are in a war with the aliens.
I've never said this. This is not true.
Space wars. You've talked about
Space Wars is not with aliens. It's the Chinese, and we're shooting each other's satellites. Do you actually come to this show, or do you send someone else who makes up Israeli moon bases and stuff? I have never said we're fighting the alien. I've never said that.
Well, I'm telling you what Corso says.
Okay.
Corso says we're fighting the aliens, us and the Russians, and most of the activity between.
I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that.
To do with putting weaponry out in space so we can. Apparently, these aliens have difficulty with certain magnetic stuff. That's why they keep crashing. Otherwise, they'd have taken over by now. And it turns out, I think Corso is correct. This guy is totally wrong. The aliens aren't our friends. Why would they be? It's dumb to think that. It's like, oh, the white man coming to help Indian. This is not going to be the way it works. And then Corso's argument I think is much better. This character, this Hellier guy, actually created a landing pad in St. Paul, Alberta, the town where all the money is. And it had it built as a Canadian centennial celebration. I'm reading from the Wikipedia, as a symbol of keeping space free from human warfare. The sign beside the pad, there's a pad there. The area under the world's first UFO landing pad was designed internationally for the town of St. Paul as a symbol of our faith that mankind will maintain the outer universe free from national wars and strife. The future travel in space will be safe for all intergalactic beings. All visitors from Earth or otherwise are welcome to take over Alberta, apparently, are welcome to this territory, and they're welcome to the town of St. Paul. So I'd be moving out of there as fast as I could.
I like it better
when I see it.
I like it better when I just did the alien stuff. I don't like it. Your version is no good.
My version is more believable.
Okay. Just don't accuse me of things I haven't said. I never said we're at war.
Well, I thought you did. I was mistaken. I guess because sometimes when I roll my eyes, it actually makes me forget things.
Okay.
It turns out to be a known characteristic of eye rolling.
Tech news.
Tech news.
Is there a phone out? Is there a phone out?
The theme. The tech news theme.
Do we? We have a tech news theme, don't we?
You're supposed to play it.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. Hold on a second. Do you want the long version or the?
No, of course not.
Yeah, I like the long version. We're going to play that one. Tech news.
iPhone, schmyphone. The way I see it, the only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
Hey now, time for tech news. Although there's no phone out.
There's no phone this week in tech news.
I would like to say something about a case we've been following for quite a while.
Okay, is this tech news?
This is tech news. It's regarding podcasting.
Oh, yeah, they had a big podcasting confab in Texas.
But I was going to talk about the
podcast movement, I believe it's called.
The settlement of the lawsuit between the podcasting patent holder and Adam Carolla.
Oh.
And they have now settled.
That's interesting.
Without prejudice, which means
they can sue each other.
They can sue each other. They are now in a quiet period for, I think, 30 days. And somehow this is being seen as some kind of victory. I call chicken shit. What is this? Big words. Oh, we're going to fight them till the end, and now you settle without prejudice. So nothing has been won at all.
A lot of money.
Well, he does have a trial in September. His business partners are suing him about not paying their fair share. Maybe he needed some money for that lawsuit.
Maybe he'll use it for that.
But I'm dumbfounded at how easy this guy gets off with this. But fine.
He was, yeah.
Some pretty good articles written about this.
I didn't read any.
It's okay. And we continue to follow the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who are following the correct path in trying to invalidate the podcasting patent.
I have a column running yesterday. It's still in PC Magazine, Tech News, of the belittling a new product called the Vessel. You can go to VESSYL.
This is the cup.
The cup
that knows what you're drinking.
Yeah, the 13-ounce cup that knows what you're drinking that costs $200
to be a part of
made out of plastic.
To be a part of the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things.
All right. Well, tell us about this column. Luckily, you belittle it. That's good. I looked at the commercial, but there was nothing to pull from it. There's no voiceover.
No, there's not enough talking.
Is this real? Is this a real cup? Is this?
Well, if it is, it's about $50,000 worth of chemical testing gear
in the cup,
which I find hard to believe, to be honest about it. I think it can maybe test a couple of things like sugar content, but they claim you can test. You can put in Coca-Cola, and it'll say Coca-Cola. You can put in Pepsi, it says Pepsi.
And what's the point?
Quite say that. Because now it can document everything you drink all day, because you're supposed to carry this stupid cup around with you like an idiot. So you carry the cup so you go to Starbucks, you dump your coffee in there, you drink from there, and then it goes to the cloud. It analyzes everything you've been drinking all day and gives you advice on hydration, calorie count, and things like that.
Wow,
something everyone needs.
This is not going to fly long term. I don't think human beings are really that interested.
Fly short term.
Yeah, but the same thing with this wearables crap. No one cares. I don't think anyone really wants.
Well, the hypochondriacs care. Yeah. I don't think there's that many hypochondriacs in the world. There's enough of them maybe to support one or two of these devices. But
well, I will say that in New York City, I did watch your most recent appearance on a show about phones, This Week in Cell Phones. And I think you were very clear and correct in saying, and I'd like you to tell a little more of the story if you don't mind, because I remember you had to leave to go to this party, that Silicon Valley, everything is a scam.
I didn't leave the show prematurely.
No, you couldn't talk later on the show. I got to go. There's some party thing.
Oh, right.
This was the party that you went where some guy said everything's a scam.
This is a story I told.
We didn't really tell the story.
I went to a party. It was Steve Cook's place, and it was a ritzy place.
Who is Steve Cook?
Or to Tim Cook, or not Tim Cook, but the
Tom Collins?
The cook that runs, that started Intuit. For some reason, I can't remember his first name. Anyway, so Cook had a party, and I was in there at this huge mansion, drinking Chardonnay like a twerp. And I was
Hold on. You're going fast. Who else was there?
Oh, John Doerr was there.
Oh, okay. John Doerr, famous venture capitalist. Yeah.
Most of the people from Kleiner, the people from like a bunch of footballers were there. Like the guy who used to be the safety for Ronnie Lott. There's a lot of celebrities. Really? There was a celebrity lady.
Were there any Hollywood celebrities?
No, it was just Silicon Valley, Northern California celebrities. Anyway, I was in one of the ante rooms.
What's an ante room? What's an ante room?
Yeah, room in the back.
I'm trying to get you're not doing a good job on the story. I'm trying to help you. I'm coaxing you. I'm interested. Don't get all frustrated.
Well, I mean, but there's certain terms I don't think I have to explain. I was in a room, and it was because they had a pile of nuts.
Were there any drugs at this party?
No, there were no drugs at this party except for wine.
Were there any good-looking women at this party?
The Silicon Valley women. There was a bunch of them. There weren't any Hollywood level quality high end babes, hookers. No. It was just one of these. You've been to these parties.
No, sorry, I have not.
Huh.
I don't get invited. I've never been invited to these parties.
I don't get invited to that many myself.
How did you get on this list?
Oh, because I had given a speech that involved the company. It was with Larry Lessig and I. It was a debates thing where we both talked two sides of one issue. And
did you say Adam says hi to Larry? You know, I'm a big.
This was years ago.
Oh, okay.
And before we had started working together, so it wasn't going to happen that way.
Okay.
Unless I was that. I have a lot of insight and foresight, but not that. I'm not that good.
Okay.
And
so people are hanging around.
The party came out of the event, and so there was a party. And so I was in the back room, and I was talking to some guys.
Were people wearing Dockers?
Yes.
And lots of khaki? Yes. Wow. Okay.
And a lot of blue shirts.
Blue shirts with suspenders?
No suspenders.
Okay. This house, was it a Victorian or modern?
Modern, a huge, monstrous place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in Woodside, so it had a backyard. Must have been 5 or 6 acres. And in the backyard, there were a bunch of alpacas.
These are like llamas?
Yes, only they're the high-end llamas. They weren't vicunas, but they were the alpaca llamas.
It's the Tesla of llamas.
Yeah, well, actually, I would say the vicuna. Okay, the vicuna, which is a small. They're different sizes. The llama is a big, giant thing.
Are these good pets? Do they make good pets?
They're very friendly. And what they do, they have this. There was this Scott Cook. That's his name. Anyway, they're. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. He's got a bunch of llamas, and they have in the backyard, they have a big stable for the llamas in this big house, which is a modern place. It had one of those toilets that you washes your ass, as a matter of fact.
What kind of cars were outside? Teslas?
No, this was pre-Tesla. This was about 10 years ago.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this party now. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Okay, so the llamas were 10 years ago.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it was but there were Bentleys and Ferraris and then lots of BMWs and Lexuses and things, and a couple of Chevys and a couple of
Chevy,
a Chevy and a Cherokee. They're all there. They had a valet service in front of the house.
Right,
I don't know where.
Now, fast forward, we're back 10 years. Now,
I got it. Now you got me.
No, good. No, fine. I'm liking it. Go.
So the llamas, I'm told. So I said, what are all these llamas doing here? They said the llamas, they like to shear the llamas. They have somebody that comes in and shears the llamas, and then a bunch of women from Woodside and San Francisco, including Ann Dorr and a bunch of these other rich women that are married to billionaires, they sit around and they spin the llama wool, and then they knit with it as part of a coffee clutch.
Hold on. Do you think this is still happening? There's
either that or something else is dumb.
Okay, so they're taking the alpaca llama wool, and they spin it. I presume they're washing it too. They're treating it, and then they sit around in a group. These billionaire women,
heiresses,
and they and are they knitting sweaters or quilts?
They're probably
scarves,
something that's square. That would be my guess.
And do they feel this is in case of the nuclear holocaust, that it's a good?
No way.
It's like billionaire prepper wives, essentially.
It was one of the guys that was telling me about the spinning club, and he said, "Can you believe that?" I said, "Well, yeah." And somehow in the conversation, I said something positive about Silicon Valley to this person that was telling me about all this.
And this is now or 10 years ago?
This is 10 years ago.
Okay.
This is not something that happened overnight. I was always suspicious, but I did have a glimmer of, there was some positive aspect to my coverage of the Valley. And I thought that we were doing the world a favor.
Right.
In terms of the products and ideas.
You mean we're changing the world?
There was a change in the world.
Making the world a better place.
I've never gone that far, but I felt it was a positive thing.
Well, with the first PCs, I totally agree. I think it was very positive.
It was a positive thing. And the guy goes off on me, telling me that I'm an idiot.
Cook.
No, not Cook. The guy who was telling me about the the knitting club. Right. Cook was busy entertaining people. Cook showed me the llama ranch, and then he had to go off and do whatever. Okay. He didn't tell me that the llamas were there for these women.
Gotcha. I got you. I'm enjoying this.
So this guy goes off on me, telling me I'm full of crap, that Silicon Valley is a big scam. It's just a big sales club. They know how to sell anything. They can sell ice boxes to Eskimos, for all you know. Everything's bull crap. That it's exaggerated, and that's why you're in this giant mansion drinking this expensive wine, is because it's all bull crap. And he went off, and I thought about it afterwards. I said, he's right. It is bull crap. It's all bull crap. People are, and then when you see them lined up around the Apple store to buy the watch, which will be coming up shortly, you realize that the public at large are a bunch of suckers.
Well, when you repeat things over and over again, and every tech show is no more than a PR extension of tech firms who sell phones and other gadgets, yeah, of course people like it, and they don't need any of it. Any of it.
I'm reminded of my Nexus Galaxy, which is built, I was looking at the specs of it, in 2011. I don't need another phone. This phone works fine. It's got 64 gigs of memory. It's got a great display. The radio works. The apps all work. The thing is 3 or 4 years old. Why should I be buying a new phone every year? It's not scratched. I put it in my pocket, this phone.
Okay, let's get back to the party for a second.
I put it in my pocket with keys, and it never gets scratched.
I know. Okay, so that was the party 10 years ago. Now, this party you were at recently, was that not a recent party?
No. This was a reference to that party.
Oh.
I have not been at a recent.
I thought you went to a party recently. No.
Well, I went to a party. I don't know of a party that I may have. I don't know of one. I don't get invited out anymore. People hate me.
Yeah, I have the same problem. Although not in Austin. People in Austin like me. They think I'm cool. Although I have to kind of,
you're cool.
I have to kind of pretend.
Celebrity cool.
Well, they always ask me MTV stuff, which I really don't care about. I got my 10 stories ready. Hey, come over to the house. Look at Mickey. By the way, when I was in New York, wow, she redid my entire wall of fame. I have a wall of fame. She reframed photos. It's spectacular looking. Now you walk in, we have this room which has her stuff, my stuff. It's like New York Times articles that are hung up. I have Forbes magazine, Fortune covers, USA Today.
So some kid comes in there and they're going to blow his mind.
No, not just pictures of me and Michael Jackson and Tina Turner, and it's impressive. And a couple of the gold records, the cool ones from Aerosmith and Jackson, and
it sounds like a celebrity's office.
Yeah, but it's a whole separate room, and it's really, really nice. And she did something else. She had the house cleansed.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wise idea.
And I'm.
Did she bring a witch doctor in?
Yes, she did. She brought in a deva, and they burned sage and did all this stuff. And apparently in the studio, which is a casita, there was a ghost who was stuck here and couldn't get out, who had some horrible, didn't die well and was stuck here. And they worked, I think, for half an hour just to get the ghost out of the casita. And
you had a ghost in your studio?
Yeah. Apparently. I feel much better now, though. I feel less,
That the ghost is gone?
Yeah. Yeah. And
this may have accounted for some bugs that you had in the system. Remember? A couple weeks ago?
Well, no. This is the first thing I said. The dank, musty smell is gone. I think there was a ghost sitting there in the air duct.
And he was not much of a podcasting fan.
No, farting away. Farting ghost. Who knows?
So you got rid of the farting ghost.
Yeah. And everything does feel very nice and clean. I believe in this. I think this is a good idea. People should look into this. Okay. I think there's energy that sticks around. You don't even sound that skeptical. I think you're kind of on board.
I know the ghost stuff because Mimi's a big believer in ghosts. And we apparently had a ghost over at we had a duplex we owned in Berkeley. And all the kids had seen this ghost. So I have to say, well, there probably was a ghost there. And I never saw the ghost. I think this whole thing is nonsense, to be honest about it. But it's possible that there's something screwy that could happen worth, I don't know why or how. But there was a ghost over there. And it was, the ghost. And it became like a part of the family, this ghost. and although they never set a table for him or her, you don't know. And there's all these reports of ghosts, so it's possible he had a ghost. Why not?
Yeah.
But, it'd be nice to know the backstory. Most ghosts have a backstory.
Well, this ghost is now gone, so we don't know.
Oh. Well, it's probably better not to have a ghost around.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that she did that, and everything is really good. And
your flying saucer stuff now. The show's back on track. The old-fashioned show.
There we are. We're good to go. And we made it through the entire show without talking about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yeah, is that what you want to talk about? I'm going to just give you my quick.
I do have some. Well, first, let me play the funniest one. This is going around the world, obviously. People in the Netherlands and Bulgaria. And what else?
No. I'm going to say this right off before I start playing these clips. This is not a viral campaign. This is an extremely well orchestrated public relations campaign. I am going to find out who did it because this is so successful that there's no way they can shut up about it. And the person that came up with the idea, the agency that's behind it, and everything in between will be revealed on this show. This is the biggest crock of bull crap, and the fact that everybody's falling for it. I have the Kermit the Frog one here, by the way, is outrageous as far as I'm concerned. This shows how the public can be manipulated.
Okay, Kermit the Frog. I'll play this first. Yeah,
play.
Greetings all, this is Kermit the Frog coming to you from the hot, sticky swamp where I am ready to accept the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from WWE's Vince McMahon, in which, by the way, he referred to me as a pesky amphibian. To which I replied, oh yeah?
This doesn't even sound like Kermit.
Well, the real Kermit's dead. Well, that was.
Yeah,
this is the Kermit.
There's people who can do a better job than that.
Yeah, I think
Being an amphibian, it turns out that evidently getting drenched by freezing cold water could actually make me go totally dormant and my heart could stop. But no matter at all. Half an hour ago, I had 10 bags of ice delivered here to the swamp, and by now, well, they should have melted into several gallons of freezing cold water.
Wow, this is really crap.
So, not only am I...
so you can stop that now. And now I want to mention something that happened last night, which I'm going through the late night comedy shows just to see what's what. And Lindsay Lohan, who's got a play in London, I don't know how she does it, but she's in London doing a play. She's one of the characters in one of the plays. They flew her. They flew her from London to New York to accept the Ice Bucket Challenge and dump ice on her. Now, this
where did that happen? On a talk show?
It was on Jimmy Fallon's show, which is in New York. And Fallon dumped the ice on her, and then she went back to get on a plane to go back. This is an outrageous waste of resources and stupidity on everybody's part. And so that when I saw Lindsay Lohan coming in from London just to get ice dumped on her, she never said she's given money or anything. She just dumped ice on her so she could have a clip of it. Then I knew it was a public relations scam, and it's completely out of control. And anyone who takes part in it, I just say it, is I think it's fine that the ALS hired somebody to do this and I don't think they expected it to do as well as it did. They've got over $10 million, maybe 20 by now. Lots of money. But anyone who falls for this is a sucker.
Yeah, I find this interesting, and I'm very glad that you're going to look into the origins. There is a Wikipedia page for it, and I think it's worth discussing since you and I have both been called out, and neither of us are going to do this. I'm just not going to be forced into doing any of this crap.
And if you remember the early days of the call out, it was you either give some money to this charity or get ice dumped. Now, it's because you want to get a picture of yourself getting ice dumped on you, like Bill Gates, who apparently dumped ice on himself. And then, but they dump ice and they give money to the charity. That was not the original idea. The idea was you get called out, you give money to the charity, or you get ice dumped on you. Not both. But here's what I think. I believe that a lot of these people, Bill Gates and all the people that have had ice dumped on them, are guilt-ridden. They're guilt-ridden people this is like the flagellants in the 1300s, who during the era of the Great Plague, they would go down the street, big groups of them, and slap themselves with chains and whips, and they'd whip their back so they were bleeding. And there was thousands of them, and they would do this in all the towns. And these flagellants there was some sort of Christian guilt that was going on.
What is it sounds like flatulence, but that's not what you mean.
Flagellant, like flagellate.
Okay, it's hitting yourself.
Flagellate is so you can hit somebody else. You can flagellate someone. It's got whipping.
And who are these people doing this?
The Christian flagellants. That was the name of them.
Sorry.
And it was like a cult of people doing this to themselves during the 1300s, during the plague era.
Because they weren't dead, and so they felt they had to flagellate themselves.
That was part of it, and they thought that maybe it would get God's attention, it would cure the diseases and all the rest of it. It's a very interesting thing to study these guys. They also became borderline rock stars, and women would throw themselves at them.
I like this analogy.
So anyway, these people, these guilt-ridden people would just beat themselves up going down the streets, and they would always do it as a public spectacle. In a big parade, they'd go down beating themselves in the back. And this is what we're seeing here. This is a public spectacle of guilt-ridden people drawing attention to themselves. Oh, look at me, and then dumping ice on themselves like idiots. And this, to me, is a form of mass hysteria that I don't know if we're ever going to see anything quite this crazy. But it is the people that's triggered it, the public relations, and who brought the celebrities in, because that's what really did it, by the way, the celebrities, not a bunch of people in Silicon Valley. Jason Calacanis dumping ice on himself as nobody cares. But the people that are the hot celebrities, they're all guilt-ridden. I don't know if they're even MK Ultra types doing it. I have no idea. But people are dumping crap on them, filming it. Bill Gates is dumping ice water on himself, getting soaking wet, filming it. This is sick. And it's telling me that there's something wrong with the culture, and there's something specifically wrong with these people who want to do this instead of just giving the money. I mean, this is it's an illness. It's like, and it's not, oh, Dvorak, fun. No, this is really weird, people.
Well, I think this does play in some regard into my international health crisis analysis. This does have to do with the culture of broadcasting, projecting, showing your life, being a part, YOLO, all of these things. When Bill Gates did it, this is where your analysis goes a little askew. You're telling me that Bill Gates, who supposedly is the do-gooder, saving children everywhere, as long as they're black, in Africa, with malaria, with vaccines, he's saving the entire world. He sponsors every public radio, television program, and he's guilt-ridden about ALS. He's guilt-ridden?
No, it's not about ALS. It's about themselves.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with ALS. It just happens to be the beneficiary.
All right. So I agree. But when you say guilt-ridden, why is he guilt-ridden?
Bill Gates is totally guilt-ridden. I mean, he has got all this money that he doesn't really deserve. And there's some element of that. He's always had that. Everybody who's that rich has that element. And he's also playing games with that money. And then he gets stuck with Parkinson's, which is like God striking him. There's no doubt in my mind that he's guilt-ridden. I think all these people are guilt-ridden.
So celebrities,
you go in front of a camera and then dump ice on yourself, make a fool of yourself. Look at me, boom! I'm now soaked. I'm soaked. I'm wet as a wet duck. To me, this is very similar.
I've sued gossip magazines in the Netherlands, not because they published something about me, but because they took pictures that I had taken that I owned, and they printed them in magazines and did that without permission and didn't compensate me. And so I've always taken as a pure, and this is why if you look at Adam Curry Creative Commons, you'll see that I've won some significant lawsuits. Not in the money, you lose money on the whole deal. Believe me.
Yeah, no, this was the.
And I didn't do any crowdsourcing. I did it myself. But whenever you win something, and I thought it was only particular to the Netherlands, but it may be worldwide. People would always say, well, of course, you're going to give that money to charity, right? I'm like, no, I'm not going to give it to charity. And it's very strange. If you come in, I think here's maybe the guilt-ridden part. If you come into money and you don't feel good, oh my God, I think I've got it. If you come into money and you don't feel you really deserve it, which in Bill Gates' case certainly would be true. He has billions of dollars. He kind of bought something, put something together, but a lot of other people did the work. Actors, they know that they really, the millions of dollars they sometimes get. And by the way, I have no problem with it. But that is a deep down guilt that you're talking about. Like, I have to do something because I don't feel good about how much I have. It's kind of the inequality thing versus anybody else. And if I do this, which is just another version of changing your Twitter icon to black, if I do this, then at least I'll get people off my back. I'll feel good, and I've contributed. Leonardo DiCaprio, one of our producers, does physical therapy stuff for him. And he was called out for the challenge, and he was really angry. He was like, I don't want to do this, but if I don't, everyone will think I'm a douchebag. And he had to, put up more than $100.
Yeah.
And so I think that is your guilt. I think you're right. In addition to a lot of people, and I see the ones in the Netherlands who I know, who really, if you get called into it, you're being called into the club, you see, into the club of celebrities, because you are then by you are connected to Bill Gates and you're connected to Leonardo DiCaprio because you also did the challenge. It is something of this era, the way it's being done now, but I think you're right. It does go back to how do you spell flagellance?
Flagell something, flagellance, ANTS maybe.
Flagellance. There should be a Wikipedia page, wouldn't there?
There is. It talks about it.
Flagellant. There you go. Flagellant. Practitioners of an extreme form of mortification of their own flesh by whipping it with various instruments. Yeah, or doing something stupid like pouring ice on your head, which can cause you, if you have head trauma, it can cause ALS, just so you know. Yeah, so...
Yeah, no. So I have a negative.
That's very good analysis. The taking it back to the flagellants. I think that is spot on. It's a human. It's kind of like that combined with Andy Warhol's 15 minutes of fame. And but funny enough, or maybe just no. First of all, no one gives a crap about us. But we were. Was it Leo who called us out to do this on Twitter?
Yeah.
It was you, me, and Jason Calacanis.
Right.
And Jason Calacanis has a lot of people following him, and he's like, "Oh, those guys won't do it." And I haven't responded. You responded
he said, "I'll do it. I'll do it." Of course he will. He's a publicity hound. He thinks it's a way to get a couple more followers.
But I'm not getting any hate. I'm getting.
But he says, "I don't think those two douchebags will do it."
No.
And so. And then you said, "Oh, we're going to get hate." I said, "I don't think so," because most people that I talk to that aren't in this league of guilt-ridden celebrity don't think this is interesting. They think it's stupid. I mean, I'm talking about JC's wife. JC doesn't even know about it. Most people don't see it that way. We had one guy from No Agenda listener that says, "I think they should do it," whatever. But anyway, it's beside the point. The point is that this is a weird phenomenon that I am absolutely convinced was triggered by a PR person,
Well, it started in the golfing community.
I'm going to identify the person. They need to be recognized for what I consider a great, great moment in PR history.
So we have this list. The Ice Bucket Challenge participants. I think this is a very important list to have and to keep. Because it does say something about these people. I think it does.
Well, it was when Lindsay Lohan flew out from London just to do this in public on a national show. That was when I said that was the end. That was somebody sent me the Kermit the Frog thing saying that was jumping the shark. I think Lindsay Lohan coming in from England.
No, it's ridiculous. I remember when Phil Collins did Live Aid. Was it Live Aid? Yeah. And he took the Concorde from New York to Wembley Stadium and played twice on the same day. That was like, wow, that's so cool. That was extravagant. Here's Vin Diesel.
Ice Bucket Challenge. Michelle Obama, Angelina Jolie, and Putin.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah, I heard that one. I wanted to say, of course, nobody that's a real, elite will do this.
Putin.
These are all the there's no elite doing this, and they're not gonna.
Well, George
When I see
George Bush did it.
Well, that tells you something.
Well, he's technically dead, so I don't know. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if.
Not going to happen. So I've got a couple of clips I want to get out of the way before we're getting near the end of the show.
Yes.
I don't know if you have more stuff, but I do have a million clips actually, but I'm going to stretch these out for the next 3 days because this upcoming Monday is National Mac and Cheese Day.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And who is this sponsored by Kraft, or who does this? Who does the?
I have no idea. Probably the U.S. government. So I am going.
Will it be by presidential proclamation? Because it does not count otherwise.
So I went and I went. First, I got a mac and cheese. There was something I got a mac and cheese clip.
You sure you don't want to do this on Sunday? Because then would you want to tease it and get it ready?
I want this. Okay, let's just play this the mac and cheese song, which you could also play at the end of the show, by the way, along with the other end of show thing that you were talking about, which is
the anthem. The
anthem.
Yeah. The end. I will
do the mac and cheese song. In fact, we can save it to the end of the show, but you can play a bit of it if you want, and then play it at the end of the show, which is the mac and cheese song, which triggered me to get all these mac and cheese clips.
Okay, I'll play a little bit.
I like cake, I like pie, I like chocolate, me oh my. I like pizza and I like peas, but most of all, I like mac and cheese.
What is this recording? It's crap.
It's the way it is. Sorry, it is crap.
Can you get a better version of it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think that's listenable.
I could hear it. Okay, don't play the mac and cheese song. Anyway, it goes on. It's a very good song, actually. Very well written. And then, so we get...
Okay.
So I get some clips like, here's the mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. This is a black online cook, one of many, by the way.
Oh, you sent me this video, which was violation.
No. That video that I sent you is not in this list.
Oh.
That video had no clippable parts. This is the clipping. This is a different woman, and she serves food and she shows you how to cook.
Which clip is this?
This is a mac and cheese for Thanksgiving, which I thought was kind of sick.
That's what the Obamas do.
And happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Now you know this is the biggest eating holiday of the year, so your girl could not leave you hanging. So to show my gratitude, I'm serving up my favorite Thanksgiving dish, my baked macaroni and cheese, which is guaranteed to please.
Now, so I find it kind of weird that anyone would consider mac and cheese at Thanksgiving. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Yes.
What?
Yes. I bet you maybe I can find a clip even. Michelle Obama talked about, let's see. Michelle, that's what Michelle mac and cheese. Here we go. Yeah, they served that for Thanksgiving. That, I think it's a black thing.
Oh, I never, maybe it is.
Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
I don't know if she talked to. I remember talking about this.
Okay, well, then we can go with that.
I think it is. It's a traditional African American, Black American dish is having mac and cheese.
It actually stems a lot of this stems from here. Play the mac and cheese Jefferson clip. I didn't know this, even though I checked it out. It's not true, but everyone believes it to be true.
Oh my God!
Very nice, very tasty, very cheesy, but it's not going to be like running with cheese sauce. If you use the 8 ounces of pasta version, you will have a lot more cheese sauce. Okay, so it's up to you. Thomas Jefferson, the inventor of macaroni and cheese, also the author of the Declaration of Independence, he and our founding fathers fought for our right to put in as much or as little macaroni in our macaroni and cheese as we damn well please. So never forget the principles on which this country was founded. And that's it, macaroni and cheese. How easy was that?
This is infuriating what you're doing to me.
Okay. Well,
National Mac and Cheese Day. I expect you to have a complete rundown.
Whatever you're expecting is not going to happen. So let's play now. Now, blacks, you might be right, like mac and cheese because it's a cheap food. It's a depression food.
There we go. The racist no agenda guys again.
The racist no agenda guys. So let's listen. What does a rich black person do, though? I want to play two.
They play mac and cheese. It's not. It has nothing to do with money. It's cultural.
Well, no, but rich mac and cheese is different. If you're Patti LaBelle and you got all this money and you got a gorgeous kitchen, This is what you do. So this is I got 2 clips from her. The Patti LaBelle Too Many Cheese clip for starters.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second. Patti LaBelle, a famous American singer.
So now I'm going to do my macaroni and cheese. It's called Over the Top Macaroni and Cheese. It's with 7 cheeses. It's Munster cheese, Malt cheddar, sharp cheddar, Monterey Jack, mozzarella, provolone, and Velveeta. Those are the 7 cheeses I'll use. I have my first cookbook with the macaroni and cheese, and since then I've grown up. And I've grown into this seafood macaroni and cheese lady. Thanks to Bud Ellison, my musical director, who passed of prostate cancer some time ago.
Oh, this is nice. Mac and cheese prostate cancer.
I don't know why
Very
she
nice.
did that in. So her mac and cheese now, besides having 7 different cheeses, including Velveeta, is essentially lobster. She puts huge tons of lobster in the thing. But listen to this little part here, which I thought was the kind of the elitist musician level, with a high-end musician, with the way she mixes things and the way she deals with all the rings and shit she's got on. This is the second clip.
So whenever I cook this, I think of Bud, and it's going to be with lobster.
That's the prostate guy?
Yeah.
Bud?
And shrimp. Added to the cheeses and the...
Come to cheeses, everybody.
Egg and the seasoned salt and the butter and the half and half cream. Ooh. First, I'm going to start by taking off the bling bling. The nastiest thing that you can see in a kitchen is somebody cooking and tossing food with their freaking rings on and long
Tossing
fingernails.
salad.
Okay, nasty. So I'll put the ring over here. I'll pick up some gloves because I'm going to work this macaroni and cheese with my hands.
Yeah.
And I don't trust people's hands. People have their hands all in their food and sticking it in chicken and just passing on stuff. First, you got to get the gloves on. Now, that takes a little while. Then you get them on, and you hope that this bracelet won't fall into the macaroni and cheese.
Okay, all right.
She's got a $10,000 bracelet on, which is dangling.
Hold on a second. The genesis of this conversation, for those of you who are new to the program, is the appearance of mac and cheese as a Depression-era food, very similar to the grilled cheese. And we have noticed an incredible increase in the marketing of mac and cheese, which is very cheap cheddar melted with cheap noodles and it's crap.
Yes, exactly. That's all it really need. You only need noodles and some butter and some cheddar. You don't need all this other bull crap.
Well, here is the recipe.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese. Now, since this started, and I don't know how, 2 years ago maybe we started noticing the mac and cheese vibe?
Yeah, at least.
Not a day goes by that someone doesn't send me a picture of a menu or something in the supermarket. I would like to make a suggestion. Don't do that anymore. It wastes my time. And it was funny, the first 1,000 pictures that I got of mac and cheese. And oh, look at the mac and cheese food truck. Oh, look, mac and cheese with truffles. Mac and cheese. Look, $50 for mac and cheese dinner. I get it. It's true. It's happening. You get that too, people? Tweeting. You can
get a lot of tweets.
Tweet it. Tweeting is fine. Tweet all you want because then I can retweet. But email, please try and keep that a little more exclusive. And don't start a dialogue with me.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more clips, which I'm going to move to Sunday because Mac and Cheese Day is Monday.
Mac and Cheese Day is Monday.
And we're going to not talk. We're going to see how long we can go without any references to mac and cheese, which I don't think will be very long.
I have no problem. I'm not going to talk about mac and cheese. I'm sick and tired of the mac and cheese. And I had mac and cheese a couple of months ago, and it made me want to throw up. I can't believe I'm eating this at a restaurant.
Oh, it's inexcusable at a restaurant.
With shells.
It's not mac and cheese. It has to be done at elbow.
I know.
It's not going to be with shells. There's one woman here that does them with bow ties.
And people sending me recipes and stop.
Recipes. It's not a recipe.
I don't want...
It's a dish you throw together with some cheddar, cheap cheddar, and some elbows.
And people send me recipes. I don't want recipes of mac and cheese. It's not funny anymore. It's just not.
I have another teaser for the Sunday show. I'm going to talk. I got some Ebola.
Wait, let's end the segment.
Living the mac and cheese life. Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
There you go.
I do want to talk about Ebola on Sunday. I do only have one clip that I can use as a teaser, which is the Ebola in Germany clip.
Okay.
You can play.
And an Ebola scare in Europe right now. A woman rushed to the hospital with symptoms of Ebola in Germany. That hospital's in Berlin, and doctors say the woman got sick at a job center with symptoms that included a high fever. Emergency crews quarantining other people at the job center, and they rushed the sick woman to the hospital. The hospital says the woman has not been to the epidemic area in West Africa, so they don't think it's Ebola, but you see all the precautions they're taking as they haven't ruled it out yet.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of those stories.
Oh, yeah. Another piece of bull crap. We should have invested in the companies that are making that are apparently making the vaccine. That a nice pop. And someone sent me these two company names, and I forgot to bring it up on the show. And the next show had already gone up like 50% or something.
Yeah, it would have been a good one.
Yeah, we're such sophisticated investors, you and I.
We're not sophisticated investors. The show is not an investment show.
No, but even your investment show doesn't make you rich.
No, it doesn't. I'm not looking to get rich.
Well, I didn't mean rich.
You have to, if you're going to get into the stock market to make money, you have to just devote yourself to it. I'd rather devote myself to this show and other things that are useful to the public at large.
Now you're talking. You're talking.
That's what we do, and they give us. We don't have to invest, and we get income from these fine producers,
people who care about what we're doing.
In August, they don't do their. They're all on vacation.
And I find it hard to believe that you do not have $5. But some people don't have $5. Don't worry about it. We'll catch you next time. But if you enjoyed anything, compare it to other things you do and other things you consume, your media
diet. Or the
diet.
Parking meter.
Yeah, or there's that. We certainly enjoy doing it with you and for you, and I'm very happy and I feel privileged as we move towards our 7th anniversary and the Big Beast 666 show.
Yeah, 77.77. The Big Beast. Right. Did you know that on the R666 number show 666 would be on November 2nd is the same exact day as the Mexican Day of the Dead celebration?
No.
Isn't that weird?
It's not uncanny or out of this world, but strange, definitely. Everybody will be back on Sunday.
With a faux pas.
Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 here in the capital of the Drone Star State. Thank you for listening to us in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
As promised, Gitmo National Anthem and a couple of clips to play out. See you Sunday right here on No Agenda.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for your Gitmo Nation National Anthem.
In the morning, Gitmo Nation, we are all charged up to be human resources and servants in all lands and all ships at sea. From the east to west, down under to the lowlands and beyond. We are happy and distracted slaves. Hear our Gitmo Nation song.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Bingo, boom, boom, chaka-laka-laka, boom, 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 chaka-laka, boom, boom, Putin.
The best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA